Kim Jang-kyul is a graduate student in the agricultural course at Korea University. Thanks to his intelligence, he soon became the right-hand man of the professors. But of course, all the credit went to them. This injustice drove Jang-kyul crazy, and the only thing that helped him regain his composure was playing games. One time, Jang-kyul got sucked into the game world and became the Demon King Kratos. What will become of Kim Jang-kyul's fate as he lives in this bizarre world? Please follow this fascinating story with Academy Manhwa. I am Kim Jang-kyul, normal graduate student in Korea. At least I used to be. Yesterday, I suddenly became the Demon King Kratos, the final boss of the game I love to play. Oh well. AT's a familiar story. The goal of that game, Blood Moon War God, is to revive the ancient hero who has fallen asleep. You know what? Never mind. Telling you these things is useless. The problem now is, Assistant Zipharid suddenly entered and announced, Lord Kratos, preparations for war have been completed. Outside, the demons were gathered in droves in one place. Blood Prince Asheret roared, let us end our hunger with this great invasion today. Ice Emperor Sergi looked at the battlefield with a cold expression. Our tragedy of being born on this barren land. The pain of having to eat our own kind. Let us create an eternal history. Duke Mist Hardok also carried resentment. Tear apart the humans and see yet root the elven race. Tyrant Black Ball was determined. Turn them all into my food. Kratos finally appeared on the city gate. He shouted with all his might. Demon Legion. Listen up. Everyone was silent, listening to his command. Kratos, order all demons. From now on, we. In his heart, he had already made a decision. This war must be stopped at all costs. Baal was ready to fight. Sergi was equally nervous. Everyone was waiting for Kratos' next words. The excitement in Prince Asheret was bubbling non-stop. Kratos made a decision that no one expected. We'll stop all attacks and start farming. Everyone was shocked by this order. All four of them shouted in unison. How ridiculous. Kratos angrily yelled loudly. Those people were so scared that their faces turned pale. Notice you have started the 20th playthrough. A tall man sat up abruptly. AT was the level 9990 seasoned kimchi character, one of Kratos' phobias. If we start this war, I will surely die at his hands. I became a graduate student in the agricultural course at Korea University, hoping to become a wealthy farmer. I was so smart that I soon became the ace of the course. Many people came to him for help. Jang-kyul, you are so smart. Just write my thesis for me. This will help you a lot. I want you to help me with this project. You are so good at this stuff. Hey. Jang-kyul, till the fields. He became like a withered and exhausted corpse. Becoming a graduate student meant that I had become the #1 slave. What kind of life am I living? Why do I do all the work, and the professors get all the credit? At that moment, Jang-kyul could only shout to vent his anger. Those bastards. I am going to kill them all. I am going to kill them all. My dopamine is running oh. I am going crazy. And the only way to increase my dopamine is to play games. A super difficult and extremely hard to level up game. No player has ever completed this game 19 times. I craved the feeling of achievement so much that I played the game without sleeping at all. The first time, the second time, the 10th time. And so, I became the first person to complete Blood Moon War God 19 times. Jang-kyul laughed like a madman. I am so happy. I am the strongest in the world. The 20th playthrough will be hellishly difficult. I need to level up before I try time. I am going to grind levels. I am the strongest. Finally, he leveled up to 9,990. My level is 9,999. How many years did AT take to do this? Whatever. Jang-kyul was extremely excited. Here it is, the 20th time. He decisively pressed the start button. A dazzling light emitted from the screen. Jang-kyul's face showed discomfort. What is going on? His soul suddenly came out of his body and rushed through the screen. A strange light appeared in the sky. Jang-kyul began to fall freely in the air. What the hell? Calm down. I am smart. Okay, now I am blue. Which means this is my soul. I probably won't fall and die. Right? Probably. That is the Tower of Life. This means I have entered the world of Blood Moon War God. What? That is the Tomb of the Holy Knight. Jang-kyul was both panicked and scared. I am about to merge with the seasoned kimchi character. the one who is close to the maximum level. My invincible and domineering life is about to begin. Kimchi was lying in the coffin like a princess waiting for her prince. Jankyul thought blankly. Now that I look at AT, I really do not want to become that at all. Suddenly, he changed direction and flew somewhere else. What? Where am I going? What the hell? As soon as he saw Kratos, he refused immediately. That is definitely not AT. No, I said no. Back in the present, Jankyul was helplessly living as Kratos. This is driving me crazy. If I had not had that stupid thought after looking at the seasoned Kimchi, I would have become a domineering character now. I am so stupid. I am such an idiot. Zifrids was walking outside the hallway when he suddenly heard voices coming from the room. Kratos must have weakened. That is why he is scared and ordered us to stop attacking. Let us join forces and behead him. We will divide the power of the throne. Some dissenting opinions emerged, but Kratos became king by taking the head of the previous demon king. Hardock was also a little hesitant. What if he has not weakened at all? Two of us out of four will either be seriously injured or die. Sergi made a proposal. Azuret, if you are willing to be a shield for us, then I will try. He yelled. What? Do you want to die at my hands first? Bal sat silently, thinking, I am so hungry. Azuret seriously asked everyone. Okay. What if there is evidence that the demon king has weakened? What will you do then? They all replied in unison. If that is the case, then we will have to kill him. Bal still could not stop the hunger from coming. Zifrids had heard the entire conversation. He went to see Kratos and reported. The morale of our army has completely plummeted. There are more and more cases of soldiers attacking and eating each other. Some have even left the demon realm without notice. The four great demon generals are extremely angry. They say that you have weakened and are planning to join forces to behead you. Kratos fearfully pondered. If all four of them attack, I will definitely die. If I appear weak, I will also die. Wait, what about the seasoned Kimchi? Since I did not merge with Aya, is AT just a corpse? Then, going straight into the human world might be better. Zifrids took an interesting treasure. This is a recording of the Tomb of the Holy Knight, sent by General Ogmia. Kratos imagined the scene of Kimchi brutally attacking him. Heartbreaking cries echoed non-stop. Please stop. Save me. Wait. What are you going to do? No. Stop. My eyes. My eyebrows. The grotesque image of Kimchi haunted Kratos' mind. He became more and more frantic. That method is not effective. Ada looks like a performance by a crazy madman. I do not want to meet that guy. I have to stay here at all costs. With this situation, either I look weak, or I have to choose to surrender and the four great demon generals will kill me, or if I rush into the human world, the seasoned Kimchi will gojo my eyes and kill me immediately. Why did I enter this game world? I can't even find happiness anymore. The only way is to solve the food problem and calm the demons down. Zifrids curiously asked. Lord Kratos, where are you going? He turned around and said, Yes, I am going to inspect some land for cultivation. He looked at him with a worried expression. Seeing that, Kratos asked, What? Zifrids honestly said, Lord Kratos, you are self-obsessed, arrogant, and completely lack courtesy. Yet, you said lies politely. AT's terrible and scary. Please do not do that. The suspicion in Kratos rose again. What is wrong with him? Is he trying to provoke me? Is he always acting like this? Zifrids only appeared once before the battle with the Demon King without any explanation, but that actually made him a rather popular character. In previous playthroughs, Zifrids stopped Jankyul's intention. Great Holy Knight, the Demon King no longer wants to fight. Please go back. He resolutely rushed up and gave him a fatal blow. Zifrids slumped down, blaming himself. Demon King, please forgive me for being too weak to protect you. That is why players thought he was extremely loyal to the Demon King or really respected him. She flusteredly said, Oh my god, I can't believe it. Are you crazy? How dare you barge into a lady's room like that? Kratos suddenly melt before her. She asked, flustered. What are you doing? He pleaded with her. Sergi. Without you, I can't do anything. She stared blankly at him. Then her face flushed with embarrassment. Kratos thought, I am willing to kneel to save costs. Right now, I need a sharp and precise sword. And that is her. She shyly began to speak. If you say so, I will listen to what AT is, but in her mind, she thought, why is he suddenly acting like this? Unbelievable. Has he really gone crazy? Kratos led Sergi to the mountain of potatoes. Back in reality, Sifarids kept talking non-stop. This mistake of yours is unprecedented. I have never seen a demon king lose the trust of the demons so much. Kratos gradually felt annoyed. But he is really annoying. He asked for her help. Cut these potatoes for me. I need you to cut them in half for planting because you have so many hands. She stood silently. But inside, she was screaming curses. You are playing me. You jerk. You perverted demon king. Kratos explained. The work is very simple. If there are 3 sprouts or less, do not cut AT. If there are more than 4 sprouts, you can cut AT. He instructed. You must cut them precisely so that the sprouts are divided into 2 equal parts. Kratos asked her. Okay. Do you understand? Just as he finished saying potato time, Sergi angrily yelled. I never said I would do AT. He tossed the potatoes towards Sergi. She took a ready stance. Instantly, the potatoes were sliced in half. Her cuts were sharp and precise. He carefully took a paper and a pen to write. You want to cultivate on the land of the demons. I did not expect your memory to be as bad as a pigeon. He angrily ordered. I am serious. I am the demon king. You know, do not be too much. Why is not he afraid of anything? Seeing this, Kratos was very surprised. He picked up a potato and said, Crazy. How can you cut so precisely? Kratos turned to look at her, not forgetting to praise her. Indeed. No one but you can do this. Sergi fell into an indescribable state once again. She angrily cursed inwardly. You think I will believe those flattering words? You liar. You villain. You fraud. Suddenly, he stood up abruptly. Startling her, she asked. Flustered. What are you doing? Kratos took a cloth to wipe away the dirt on her sword. After wiping, AT was as clean as new. Sergi shyly said. You are. The two of them went together to the barren land. Sifarids kept asking questions. Both the previous demon kings, and you have tried cultivating on this land before. Right. With the harsh and extreme temperature differences. You must know that nothing can grow on this land. Right. Kratos casually replied. Potato juice got on AT. Of course. I have to wipe AT off. She thought in astonishment. He is really crazy. What is with that expression? Why does that action look so sincere? So gentlemanly. And so charming. What is going on? Meanwhile, he was secretly pleased. Done. Sparkling clean. Perfect. If you do not clean your sword properly, the potatoes can get infected. You have to wipe AT with sincerity and care. Kratos approached her and asked. Once again, I ask you. Only you, she thought confidently. The only demon who cut potatoes quickly right now is me. She glanced at Kratos. Then she evaded. I will only help this once. Got AT. But in her heart, she thought. So, I will let AT slide this time. You foolish demon king. Consider that you have done something good. Hearing that she had agreed, he excitedly ran off and said, Okay, I will get boiling water and some cloth. Tonight, we will cut them together. She wondered, what is he so excited about? So foolish. So foolish. The potatoes continued to be processed quickly. Hartok, standing high above, observing, had overheard their conversation. Kratos said, I know this place is called the Land of Death, but, seeing them working hard, he sang, the potatoes sprout, the leaves grow, and then they bloom. He angrily thought, Sergi, you are so foolish and lowly, willing to be a slave for a few compliments. At this moment, Azuret was hanging on a pillar under the scorching sun. He warily said, What is the definition of life? What is the meaning of living? What does a living lightning rod live for? Is AT worth living a life of torture? The little girl flute approached and offered. Sir Azuret, the adults just saved some chunio. Let us play chunio tossing. He loudly retorted. You little brat. You think I... Azuret, one of the 4 heavenly kings, would play with a lowly demon like you. Try stepping UVP here. and I will chew you to pieces." The little girl threw a chunyo at his face. He mocked her. "You can't even throw properly. You idiot. Here, I will show you." Hardok stood watching. He thought, "That Azuret is finished. He is completely broken. Unbelievable." He turned his gaze towards Kratos, who announced, "Agrathim. Listen up, this is dried potato. With my current abilities, it is possible to save this land. I really hate farming. But first, I need to survive. We will plant potatoes in the 5. Everyone excitedly ran UV. He glanced UV, assessing. That ball is always a fool, so I do not expect anything. This one, that one, they are all idiots. The demons were very grateful to Sergi. She blushed and replied, "Shut up. I do not understand anything. Got 80. Hartok looked at Sergi, thinking, what is that expression? Sergi, is that really the face of a demon from the 4 heavenly kings? Potatoes, are you really crying UVA that, as a powerful demon, are not you ashamed?" Hartok was uncomfortable seeing this, inwardly cursing, "Foolish. Foolish. A bunch of fools." Hartok, the intellect of the demons, will surely dethrone the demon king, Kratos loudly said. "Keep sowing, and listen up. Soon, potato sprouts will emerge from the ground. When that happens, we need to pinch the eyes." Bal immediately asked. Bal is very good at pinching eyes. "Who are we pinching?" He cut him off. "Forget the pinching eyes thing. Just shut up." Kratos explained, "One seed can sprout at least 3 sprouts, and at most 5 or 6. The question is more or less better?" Kratos sat down and scratched the ground with his hands. One demon replied, "More is better." He retorted, "Wrong. Less is better." Hartok was displeased. "So pathetic. Why are we learning about these things?" The 2 other demons then wondered. "Why less? More is always better." "Right. That is right. The demon king must be mistaken." He could not listen any more. He cursed, "You lowly fools." The brown-haired demon noticed. "Lord Hartok." Hartok glared and explained, "If you think about AT a little, you will know. If there are too many sprouts, they will absorb all the nutrients when they grow. The potato roots that we eat won't absorb enough nutrients." "Right." Kratos paid attention to Hardok's words. He pressed, "Hey, Hartok, how do you know that? Where did you learn farming?" He calmly replied, "Do you need to learn something as simple as that? Sprouts and roots are connected, and they share nutrients. Is not that obvious?" He asked again, "So, how many sprouts are ideal?" Hartok irritably retorted, "Clearly about 2. Why are you asking? If you consider nutrient yield, you might misunderstand that one potato sprout there is the best. If that potato sprout is damaged, the root will also die. Do not you think about that?" Then, he put a handful of dirt in his mouth and tasted AT. Kratos agreed and wanted to test further. So, after pinching the eyes, there is still one more step. "What do you think AT is?" He nonchalantly replied, "Preparing the nutrient source." "Right. With compost and tilling the soil to allow air circulation. That kind of soil is not only good for potatoes. Plants take nutrients from the soil along with the potatoes to grow." Bod did not understand, while Zephyrids was surprised. Sergi listened intently in amazement. "So we need to remove the weeds. That is what you guys need to do." Seeing the very convincing answer, he was also surprised. He pointed at Hartok and cheered. "Clap. Clap. Crazy. He is a genius. Clap for the genius farmer." Hartok. Everyone cheered that he was a genius. He closed his eyes tightly in discomfort. Then he was lost in thought. Mum always said that Hartok was slow to understand. He was moved to tears. "Never thought I would be called a genius one day." Kratos approached and called, "Hartok." Zephyrid stood behind and kept writing. "The Demon King is really strange. He has become a beggar who eats dirt." Kratos angrily shouted, "What are you writing? Stop AT right now." "What is AT?" He declared, "The wisdom and intellect of the demons. From today, lead us as the leader of the Agrithim." Hearing this, he thought in confusion, "Do not make fun of me. My wisdom exists for killing and looting." He quickly shouted, "What are you waiting for? Show respect to the upper demon. The demons shouted in unison. Upper demon. Hardock angrily gritted his teeth, inwardly cursing. Shut up, you lowly fools. But then he stood tall and said, from now on, do as I say. He told himself, I will only lead you a little bit. The demons were overjoyed. Suddenly, the system popped up. You have won 4 psychological battles. Seeing this, he quickly wondered. Psychological. What is this? The system explained. You have seen Baal's abandoned childhood and turned him into a loyal subordinate. He was surprised. Really? I did not even notice. You have given someone who never had friends. Like Azuret. A comrade. His level of violence has decreased. He was stunned. Friend. Who? He calmly replied. I am just doing my job. Recording the annals of the Demon King is important. The Demon King's memory has definitely deteriorated. Kratos cursed inwardly. He is really annoying. You have melted the heart of Sergi. Who does not know what love is? He exclaimed. Nice. But I did not do anything. Finally. You have instilled pride in the heart of Hardock, who craves recognition. He pondered. They all have fragile hearts. The system mentioned. You can unlock a skill with 200 happiness points. New skill. Bloodshot eyes. He hesitated. Bloodshot eyes. This is not in the game. Is this an original skill different from the farmer's crown? You can see the near future of the target, currently up to 6 hours. Kratos leaned his chin on his hand and mused. Your target can be a living being, or an object. It does not matter. His pupils suddenly widened. Reading the text, if you want, you can observe the sky, which shocked him. Kratos excitedly thought, is AT a weather forecast? Somewhere between the wasteland and the territory of the human race. Located the village of the exiled. Anyway, the soil here definitely does not have any nutrients, not even nitrogen. Someone is rushing UV. He is completely recovered. The person responded. Really relieved, dooming Master Elbiha. Elbiha responded, Jurio, you have suffered a lot taking care of me. In the next life, I want to be born with a healthier body. Jurio said, you know, I want to get rich in the next life, become a noble with lots of money and order people around. Hearing that, Elbiha laughed. Anyway, they are just dreams that will never come true. Now we plan to return to the kingdom. You will also go with us according to the plan, right? Kimchi. That person was silent. I am not sure. As I said, I do not even remember who I am, and I was not originally someone in the human race's territory. Even when I first came to this village, the villagers did not look at me with affection. Someone like me, would anyone welcome me? Elbiha and Durio are silent. Nitrogen, an element absolutely necessary for plant growth. Then Elbiha said, try changing into different clothes. He refused. Durio then said, so you still stubbornly refuse to take off that strange outfit. You must be very attached to AT. Kimchi thought to himself, this outfit. I want to take AT off too. But no matter how hard I try to take a tie off, AT won't come off, as if they have merged with my body. Elbiha said thank you to the landlord. Thank you for your kindness. Living here forever because your ancestors were exiled is really hard for you. When I get back to the king, I will definitely tell him yes to Rai. Kimchi thought. A noble came here under the king's order to explore the land of the demons. He has self-respect and is very polite. He is a good person. He wondered again. What kind of person am I? I only do what the person who gives me tasks tells me to do. All I do is kill and kill. Someone like me, what can I do other than killing? At the cultivation place, Durak looked at the sprouts. AT sprouted. Although nitrogen makes up 78% of the atmosphere, plants cannot use AT on their own because the atoms are linked together by a strong triple bond, making them almost impossible to participate in chemical reactions. They happily shouted, AT sprouted. AT sprouted. A's true. A whole bunch of sprouts. The seeds we planted sprouted. Flute happily went to show Azuret. Sir Azuret. They said the seeds sprouted. He was annoyed. So what? Idiot. Zhang Qiol announced. Cultivation them listen up. The next step is to mound the soil. Genius Village Chief Hartok. Explain IT to them. He said. Mounding the soil means putting a layer of loose soil close to the base of the tree. The purpose is to prevent the potatoes from being exposed to sunlight. If the potatoes are exposed to sunlight, they will change color and their taste will be bad. Sometimes, a type of potato that is toxic and cannot be used for even babies will appear. That is right, everyone can call a potato. Jankiel was excited. Cheers. Applause. Time to check today's weather. Invest 200 happiness points to get weather forecasting ability. Activate bloodshot eyes. Activation condition. Look without blinking for 200 seconds. Therefore, humans have developed a process of nitrogen fixation through chemical engineering, leading to a dramatic increase in food production. Doing that here? Impossible. There is nothing to use as a foundation for cultivation. He sighed. Too difficult. The demons assessed. Look, the demon lord is crying. He must be happy because of the sprouts. Bloodshot Eye's skill is being used to see the future of the sky. In the next 6 hours, the prediction is that the sky will be blue, the clouds will be white, the sun will be yellow. You might want to put away the heater. Jankiel was satisfied. Very good. There are no gusts of wind today either. You rest well. T-Bone. Zephyrids called. Lord Demon, I have urgent Bidinut to report. Subordinates of the second Demon Lord, Planus, have arrived. The person introduced himself. I am Laflo, loyal assistant of the second Demon Lord. Came here to see the Demon Lord. As soon as we received your order to cease the war and the message about farming, the third Demon Lord Raster launched an attack on us. Saying that, the Demon Lord has become weak, so I will become the next Demon Lord. Jankiel cursed inwardly. These demons are all the same. Zephyrid said, if the third Demon Lord Raster defeats the second Demon Lord and they unite, then it will be very difficult for us to control them. Jankiel agreed. That is right. Maybe they are lower level, but there are too many of them. That means we have to take advantage of the mechanism of nitrogen fixation in nature. So before the third Demon Lord completely overwhelms the second Demon Lord, we need to quickly defeat him. But I can't neglect this farming work. At the second Demon Lord's territory under the Cliff of Death and far away, the Rotten Swamp. When comparing the game to real life, the map ratio is 10 times bigger. Super far. Abandoned wells to increase and decrease strength in the game. If we use we can move quickly. The one under the Demon Castle is not working either. How can Jankiel take care of the farming work and fight at the same time? Wait. What is there to worry about? He smiled. I am the Demon Lord. Anyway, the final boss does not go to fight alone. Sergi objected. As if I am going to fight for the Demon Lord or something. Ball on the other hand. I will do all the orders the Demon Lord gives me. But both of the loyal 4 heavenly kings have gone to war. Demons who are bad at farming but good at fighting will go with them. Because we are going back from the final boss area, there will be shortcuts that go very fast. We can quickly get to the Rotten Swamp. Lightning with extremely high voltage oxidizes nitrogen into nitrite. Hardoak and Jankiel will focus all their efforts on planting potatoes here. So everything is fine. He announced. The wide-range spraying genius is flying UV here. At the Rotten Swamp. Someone rushes Raster. You bastard. How dare you disobey the Demon Lord's order and plot to rebel? That is the second Demon Lord Planus. Raster appeared. Just like you said. This is me rebelling. But do not misunderstand me. I have no other choice. If we abolish the campaign like this, our demon race will only have the path of extinction left. Planus said. The Demon Lord's message has said a time. Right. That we can make this land fertile. That we can eat our fill without having to wage war with the human race. Raster objected. That is not the problem. Valorous fighting is the historical path the demon race has walked from then until now and is our pride. A sound rang The nada dissolves in rainwater and is absorbed into the soil. Raster's weapon flew He looked up in shock. 4 heavenly kings, Ates Ball and Sergi. Sergi said. Raster. You are right. We are a warrior race. We like to fight and take killing as our joy. Flute is running as if she is rushing to do something. On this side, Sergi continued. Since when have we become like this? Why have we become like this? Flute opened the door and called Durak. Dad. Go to the 5 quickly. Back to Sergi. Maybe now. Even we can finally understand, if not killing people. And the dominant technique of the Demon King Kratos is, but saving people might make us more proud. They are standing looking at the sunny five. Azuret still has no emotions. Zifrids and Hartok are also here. Jankiel is standing looking at them rejoicing. Flute called loudly. Demon Lord. So beautiful. I have never seen anything like this in my life. Jangqiul smiled. On the other side, Sergi has drawn her sword. She slashed hard at Raster. He used his sharp iron claws to scratch his hand. Bal used his hand to clamp his neck. He can only scream in despair. Jangqiul said to Flute, "That is right. The flowers have bloomed. So many flowers," Raster said in pain. "Wait, did not you say you have no intention of killing? You said we should save people. Why are your words and actions different?" Sergi responded, "That is right, but you know, some people have to die so that others can live." Raster roared, "I do not understand what you are saying." Jangqiul ordered, "Okay, pluck all those useless flowers. Continue." They almost cried when they heard. Azuret scolded, "Demon Lord. Evil demon. I will not forgive you." Hartok said, "You still do not show any compassion even in this situation, as expected of the Demon Lord. What are you waiting for? Start plucking the flowers." They reluctantly obeyed. Azuret is still scolding. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. And that was the blood burst. Dyrok is plucking flowers while crying. Suddenly the flowers also seemed to be sad. So they softened. "I can't do it. Leader. I planted them. This is the first time something so beautiful has bloomed in our territory." Hartok said, "Clearly if we just leave them like that, nutrients from the sunlight will be absorbed to feed the flowers and seeds. Do not you know, that is the Demon Lord's great strategy to direct energy to the growth of the potatoes. So they also have to try to pluck the flowers." Jangqiul laughed loudly. "I can hear the potatoes growing here. Truly a Demon Lord representing destruction." Bal and Sergir have returned. Raster has been caught. Jangqiul asked him, "See the consequences of you starting a rebellion. Even the first king was defeated. So what are you?" Raster said, "Kill me. For a demon who loses a battle, death is the best thing." He suddenly took action. "Okay. System notice Holy Night. You have died." Blood burst explodes both lightning and moisture at the same time. Ada was created to transform the land into fertile soil, but he only burned on the outside. My body is made of tortoise shell. Attacks like that are just like bee stings. Jangqiul responded, "Okay. That is right. Almost no damage. Damn I have found something extremely useful." He was tied to a wooden tree and received blows. Raster shouted, "Just kill me." Jangqiul pointed to Azuret. "Hey, someone come release this first-generation electric whip. His recovery ability has been worse recently. We should retire him." Azuret gasped. "What?" He was finally untied. Flute immediately ran to VP. "Sir Azuret." He suddenly laughed continuously. "A common demon like you dares to humiliate me all this time. I will start by tearing you into pieces before I find Kratos." The little girl looked at him in horror. Azuret prepared to rush forward. Kratos said to Zephyrids, "Step back." But he tripped, and then fell flat on his face. He said to himself, "Damn it's been so long since I have been able to touch the ground." Bal said, "Azuret has fallen into a state of weakness." He was annoyed. "Do not suddenly use those fancy words. Idiot." Suddenly he was lifted up by Bal. "Stop. What are you doing? Do not carry me like a princess." Not only that, he was also carried on his back. Bal said, "It's the Demon Lord's order. Sit still for a moment." Azuret cursed inwardly. "Humiliating. I will never let this go." Jangqiul was always observing. I was worried he would become furious. But when I used bloodshot eyes, I saw that he would not be able to move for the next 6 hours. So I released him. I will do to here. Blood. He used his claws to scratch his hand. Now, the time for harvest is coming soon. Hurry up. Sergi's super-fast weeding skill swept away the weeds in an instant. Hartok's ultimate awakening made watering easier. Now there is not much fertilizer left. The amount of money we pay for labor is also decreasing. Even the demons who used to starve due to eating little. So now it can be clearly seen that they are exhausted. They are still diligently plucking flowers. At this moment someone called. Demon Lord. Jankiel looked at him. You, second King Planus, he said. We have come here to express our gratitude for saving us. He was confused. Gratitude. Planus was also silent. Screams of extreme pain. Damn me. Is this crazy demon king always using this move? Is he crazy? Jankiel's face became fierce. He was worried. Why does he look so angry? Jankiel was thinking to himself. This guy, he came to thank me empty-handed. Is not it normal for people to bring a box of drinks or red ginseng or something? Planus panicked. I am currently gathering troops with the third king, along with my subordinates. I will send labor soon. At this time Jankiel remembered. That is right. They do not have their own food. I am too used to Korean customs. The potatoes will grow well. Right. I want to harvest them soon, and create tons of food. I want to see them eat and drink to their heart's 10-10. Rock diligently plucked flowers. Jankiel wondered. Why did not I start farming in the first place? Planus said. Then I will go prepare the forces immediately. He responded. Okay. That guy is a low-difficulty boss with a boring plot. He goes around shouting that strength is rule. Doing so shows irrational loyalty to credos. He turned his head back and looked with a blank expression. He is a plant, so maybe he is useful in farming. Planus observed while walking. This land is so fertile, full of nutrients. I have never felt this abundance of nutrients in the dead swamp. Even though I am just a sapling, my land has never had nutrients like this. That land. In the land nurtured by Lord Kratos, the demon lord, Planus suddenly became full of enthusiasm. His limbs stretched. Oh. He thought to himself, I can become stronger there. The four great demon generals stared at Kratos and thought, he has weakened. He is weaker now. I can become the demon lord. His limbs stretched like roots. The weather is beautiful today. Jankiel shouted. Devil training. Prepare. Start. They exercised together. Following his instructions, they trained very seriously, exercising and counting to the rhythm. Jankiel thought to himself, they were hopeless at first, but now they are keeping up with my commands. They really do have a devilish constitution. Even when there was a sudden change in command, turn to the left, Kratos' inner self wanted to scream. They immediately followed. Turn to the right. In unison. Right. Bidex stamina is essential for tough farming. Now they can keep up without Jankiel egging them on. Suddenly, Baal rushed UV. Demon King. Big trouble. The potato leaves are all withered. His face changed color. Sure enough, they were withered and drooping. Hartok, Zephyrins, and Sergi were also there. Zephyrins said, I knew it. Is all that effort for nothing? Sergi looked dejected. Hartok said, even I do not know. Is it because of not enough wind or water? Zephyrins also bluntly concluded, you have definitely weakened by 100%. Kratos cautiously judged, he is definitely an assassin. His plan is to provoke me and then kill me. What was I expecting from farming anyway? How foolish. Jankiel walked UV. Zephyrins asked, Demon King, what is going on? He silently observed the potatoes. Then he pulled one plant up. Underneath was a pile of potatoes that had grown. Hartok was extremely surprised. The color is pale, but they are huge, twice the size of the last potatoes. No. 3 times. Jankiel said, I think the potatoes are ready to be harvested. They develop by drawing nutrients from the leaves, so the potatoes grow bigger and tastier. You have worked hard. This is better than dying. Here I come. He gathered all his courage and scratched his hand decisively. You are the ones who raised them. Hearing that, they smiled. Al almost shed tears. Inside the castle, Jankiel lay sprawled on the bed. He remembered the words. You raised them. My grandson. The cherry tomatoes are bearing beautiful fruit. Are not they? My Jankiel grew them himself. Soon after, she was wheeled into an ambulance. Jankiel cried in despair. Blood burst was cast. Blood splattered everywhere. She even had to wear an oxygen tank. Only he was left on the bed. He scolded. Useless memories. So I can't be swayed by emotions like this. Soon, we will have plenty of potatoes for everyone to eat. But we can't be complacent. If we rely only on potatoes, a potato blight will cause everyone to starve, like the Irish famine. A terrible famine occurred in Ireland from 1845 to 1852 due to potato blight, which destroyed their staple food. Potatoes can solve the problem for now. I have to quickly find seeds for other crops. Suddenly, the ground shook. Jankiel sat up. What the hell? Is AT because this place is falling apart? There were cracks in the walls. Planus suddenly appeared. Zifrids carefully observed every action of his. He became gigantic. He shouted, "What the hell is this?" Outside, Flute stared blankly at the potatoes. Wait, come to think of AT. The Demon King just said the potatoes were growing. He said the leaves wither so the potatoes can grow. Leaves fell on the ground. Flute dug them up. Wait. Something's wrong. What is wrong with AT? She picked up a bunch of leaves. She sobbed. No. Our potatoes? I have to tell the adults. While running, she suddenly stopped. The drops of blood fell to the ground. But nothing happened. In front was Planus wrapping around the castle. Jankiel was pinned down by his limbs. He laughed gleefully. You are like a bug, Demon King Credos. Jankiel was furious. You, Planus, he said. The Demon King's fertile land and potato fields are what made me so big. He felt like he was struck by lightning. The potato fields are now barren. Jankiel raged. You bastard. What did you do to our food? He calmly asked, Are you angry? Credos awkwardly hugged his hand. What can someone like you do? Then he tightened his grip. Then he threw him to the ground. Jankiel vomited blood. Hardoak frantically called O. Hurry. Get O of there. Baal struggled. Let me go. I have to save the Demon King. Azuret and Sergi scolded. Are you crazy? 8 is good enough that we survived. There is no way the Demon King would be taken down by him. Get UV here. He did not believe AT. No. The Demon King is weakened. I realized AT when Bahal helped him up. He is very weak. The rough walls cracked and stones fell. Planus had destroyed AT. Then he let Jankiel fall freely. Baal and the others stood still, staring at the scene before them. Hartok approached and asked, Demon King Credos. Zephyrid squinted, looking a little afraid. That is, Planus. The image of the gigantic Planus covering the space in front of them frightened everyone. The terrifying Planus said, Listen to me. You demons. Credos is dead. His words silenced everyone. Sergi and Hartok were also stunned when they heard his announcement. Zifrids widened his eyes, looking disbelieving and heartbroken upon hearing the painful truth. Planus continued, recalling the ancient laws of the demons. Power comes from strength. And he powerfully declared, From this moment on, I am the Demon King, a large figure with an arrogant air. He displayed his authority. Kneel before the ultimate power. Are you feeling unwell? The 4 great demon generals were also present with sinister smiles. Hartok deduced, I can see that Planus has absorbed all the nutrients from this land. With Credos of death, the strongest in this land is Planus. As he walked in thought, the demons. Follow the one with strength. Then he stepped forward and knelt before the bewildered crowd. Sergi also bit her lip, looking conflicted. Then she knelt down to the ground, expressing her consent. Seeing this, the Gibiep, including Baal and the others, also knelt respectfully, showing their respect to the new demon king of this land. And the only one who did not kneel was Zephyrids. He stood still, glaring as everyone accepted the new demon king. Seeing him like that, one of them urged him, What are you doing? Zephyrids, show your respect. Zephyrids angrily gritted his teeth, trembling as he tried to restrain himself. Then he clenched his fist, kneeling down to the ground despite himself. Credos was startled and panicked. Planus stood powerfully, receiving the respect from his subordinates. Zephyrids knelt and sobbed, expressing his sorrow and resentment. He remembered the past, when Credos was alive, when he was standing in the Piche and a voice rang, Oh, Jankiel. A woman lovingly said to the boy, Do you want to play hide and seek with Mom? The child excitedly laughed and played. Yes. Kratos squinted, looking thoughtful. This is... That day. Is this... a dream? The image of the woman with the haggard face appeared. Jankiel, close your eyes and count from 1 to 10. Then go find Mom. Yes. Kratos remained silent, hearing the familiar sounds. 5, 6, 7. The boy began to cover his face and count. 8, 9, 10. The innocent boy played hide and seek with his mother. And his innocent voice rang out, making him silent. Mom, Mom, where are you? I can't find Mom. Kimchi stood alone in the vast space. The child frantically looked for his mother. Mom. Come on. I will count to 10 again. You have to show your face when I count to 10. Okay, Mom. And then the boy hoped again and continued to count to find his mother. 8, 9, 10. Mom. I counted to 10. Mom. But no one answered the boy, so he could only sit down and cry. Oh. Kratos frowned, in pain, and cried, his tears lonely and painful. That child was still constantly frightened and cried pathetically. I am done counting, Mom. At this moment, Kratos was lying unconscious with a bloody face. Kim Jankiel. Wake up. In his hazy thoughts, he realized. What? Did a message window just call my name? He muttered warily. Hey. Message. Where am I? Am I dead? The system appeared. Move. If you move, you can survive. Kratos lay motionless, but in his subconscious he thought. Use the game's glitch movement to escape from here. No. I can't move an inch. There is no space to turn around here. He tried to turn his hand. My hand. My hand can move. I can dig. Even just a little. A little. 80's faint. But I have some memories of my previous life. I have lived this life more than 10 times. I was heading to that place. Kratos tried to move his hand and dig the space nearby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though 80 was painful, he still did not give up. 7, 8, 9, 10. In the dark, cramped space, Kratos persevered in using his hand to dig away the surrounding soil. On the other hand, Planus began to give orders. The recorder. Come closer. Ziphirids respectfully greeted and reported. Recorder Ziphirids. Greetings to the Demon King. Planus looked at him and entrusted. Record this first step clearly. From now on, the demons will invade the land of humans. He glared ambitiously, saying, we will rule humanity and raise them like livestock to eat. Hartok bowed his head, thinking, back to the old days. Well then, that is fun. I will be able to fight and kill people at will. That is how demons always lived, as long as we are fed. I moved because the summons of meaning led me there. But AT disappeared. The summons of meaning does not say anything anymore. Hall and the others were silent and entrusted themselves to the new Demon King. But why are we so angry like this? Hartok and the others all showed anger in their eyes. The Gipi Ripi was dissatisfied and indignant at what had happened. You veed here. Kratos was still trying his best to escape from that place. He used all his ability. The cramped space pressured Kratos. He opened his mouth to take in air. I can't breathe. Can't breathe. Planus displayed his authority. He arrogantly ordered, demons, unite. We will advance to war. His subordinates knelt and obeyed their master. But Ziphirids bit his lip, his face unreadable. Then, he spoke frankly. Sir, we cannot advance to war. His words startled Planus, widening his eyes and looking angry. What am I living for now? Hartok and the others, hearing him say that, were also surprised and worried. Ziphirids spoke. Our only food right now are the small potatoes, so there is not enough food to prepare for war. Planus was silent for a moment and said, perhaps he is just a fool. We have enough food. He expressed his dissatisfaction with him. Then he began to control the branches to stretch. Oh, his vines grew long and wrapped around Flute. Catching her, a subordinate there panicked and shouted, Flute. Azuret glared worriedly and resentfully at Planus's actions, but he wrapped Flute tightly in front of him and arrogantly said, are not there many small and weak demons to use as food? Flute cried fearfully and said, no, we are not like that anymore. Now, We can live without eating each other. Kimchi looked at his hands. She boldly shouted, "Our demon king." Lord Kratos said that he would carry everything like that. Her words completely angered Planus. He glared dangerously and fiercely. He exerted his power, controlling the branch to curl around. And then, he released Flute, dropping her from above. "You veed here." Kratos was still lying motionless and unable to move strongly. He felt. "My heart is stopping." His blood-stained hand placed before his heart. Despairingly thinking, "If I look, they will be hungry." He remembered the happy images of everyone in the bright dawn. Blood. Palm. Kratos' eyes opened with intense belief. Then, he exploded with power. His whole body glowed and Kratos cried in pain. His eyes widened and were awakened by a powerful thought. "I can't stand seeing someone go hungry." Then stood still in thought. His hand raised high with a determined spirit. 1, 2, 3. Kratos opened his mouth and shouted loudly as if to unleash all his power. 4, 5. Kratos' face was covered in sweat and he struggled madly to free himself. On the other hand, Planus widened his eyes in surprise as he witnessed the event. A Jurat had flown Uvich and held Flute in his arms with a terrifying look. As for Kratos, he was still trying to hold onto the ground and climb up, to escape from that place. Blood stimulation. His body shone once again, and like sparks of electricity, caused Kratos immense pain. One hand grabbed a clump of dirt to climb up. But Ada seemed too much for him. Ada hurts too much. Ada's too hard. His face was full of wounds and red blood. He glared fearfully. "How much further? How much longer do I have to go? Is this of any use?" The 4 great demon generals all held weapons in their hands. His hand with red wounds grabbing the mud suddenly stopped. Kratos warily and helplessly gave up, because he had exhausted his strength. Hartok was stunned when he witnessed the scene before him. Sergi was no less surprised. Baal squinted, his face a little fearful. Azuret alone held Flute in his arms and looked at Planus resentfully. Flute, lying in his arms, blankly said, "Lord Azuret." His actions angered Planus. He angrily asked, "What is wrong? Azuret, are you crazy?" Azuret was still silent, his zip eyes looking at Planus without answering. But then, he changed his attitude, becoming shaky and frightened. Azuret grinned and asked, "You know the laws of the demons, right? The strongest is the demon king." Looking at Planus' terrifying appearance, Azuret confusedly replied, "No. This is..." Then, he propped Flute up and justified. "Wait, this is my food. This is mine. Keep it to eat fresh." As soon as he finished speaking, a large cluster of Planus' trees flew towards them. Then, that cluster of trees struck Azuret and Flute, causing them to fall. Azuret was pushed far away, and flew past Zifirids. His attitude was indifferent and as if he was plotting something. Azuret was hit hard, flying far away to where the other demons were. He was injured and lay collapsed on the ground, his face tired. Zephyrids frowned, glancing at him worriedly. Planus coldly warned, "This is the last warning. Prepare for battle." Faced with his words, Zifirids lowered his head silently, his face profound. Kratos made an angry face but was terrified inside. They are so scary. Each of them is strong. I can't even use any skills now. Am I going to die? Then, he suddenly shouted, "There is no specific reason to wage war and invade other territories." As soon as he finished speaking, a cluster of trees controlled by Planus flew vake and attacked. But when At was about to attack, a different image was reflected in his glasses. Standing in front of him was Baal, powerfully using his weapon and chopping off that branch. Protecting Zephyrids. Planus observed everything and was extremely angry. Baal hugged Zephyrids and explained, "The demon lord has assigned work to Zephyrids. If Zephyrids dies, we can't count the potatoes anymore." Planus frantically shouted, "You bastards! Are you planning to rebel?" At this time, Hartok knelt down, respectfully replying, "Rebel? Of course not, Lord. At's just that, instead of invading other territories, we believe that the path chosen by the original demon lord Kratos, At's more reasonable than your lordship's order to invade, that is all." Sergi also continued, "I ask you, Lord." Jurt also began to feel uneasy. The pressure is incredible. The fight has not even started. but he's gathered so much power that his body is trembling. The original demon lord proposed a way not to kill anyone by growing food ourselves. Why should we fight when there is a better way? Her words directly made Planus conceited and angry. These insects? He went crazy, showing off his power, and constantly shouting, I have the power. I myself have the power to invade other places. Hardoak looked at him and bluntly denied. No, he said. Power comes from legitimacy, and everyone has now taken up arms, with a spirit of preparing to counterattack. The other subordinates also protested indignantly. Our demon lord is Kratos. Give us back our potato coins. You bastard. Planus lost control and exerted his power, with huge shoots and dense smoke flying. Hardoak exerted his power, summoning a fog shield to protect everyone. With that protection, those shoots were blocked, unable to attack everyone, but he soon regained his confidence. Baal shouted, Shoot! And below was Sergi with many hands holding indifferent swords flying UV. With Baal's thrust and strength, Sergi powerfully flew high. Alone in her many-armed and sword-wielding form, she flew straight up and slashed all the giant trees. Sergi held the sword in her hand, and below was Planus. She rushed UVA and shouted, I will gouge your eyes, oh. But as soon as she rushed UVA, Planus used his power to hurl Sergi away. Sergi was hit, which also caused Baal to recoil with force and be seriously injured. Vomiting blood, he seized the opportunity to catch the opponent and said, How dare you? How dare you challenge the demon lord? He was extremely angry. Die. All of you, die. Go to hell. I am much stronger than that weakling. Kratos, can you defeat all four of us in your current state? Planus cruelly destroyed everyone there. You call him our demon king. He pressed Hardoak down and said, That weakling died without daring to resist. Baal was also seriously injured. What about him? What is so good about that Kratos? Zipherids quickly hugged Flute and ran away from there. Suddenly, a voice rang, startling Planus. Whoa. Why am I so loved? Blood-stained hand was clenching into a fist. It was Kratos, and he flew UVA and punched that Planus hard. With his destructive power, he split Planus in two, scattering branches everywhere. He was horrified, not believing his eyes. The remaining three hid secretly behind a nearby tree. Zipherids was no less surprised, and Flute was delighted. The system reported, a new skill system learned on the brink of death. Demon King, energy concentration activated. 10 minutes earlier, he was attacked by the evil spirit. Buried under the rocks, he cried in pain. For him, that was a really difficult time, his eyes dull, half awake and half asleep. In that moment, childhood memories appeared in his mind. The image of his hard-working grandmother appeared. She kindly asked, Jankiel, what are you complaining about? He covered his face and cried, lamenting to her, It's too difficult. Jankiel sadly lamented, Why do we have to live so hard? She quietly looked at her grandson, wanting to share this with him. Because you are a seedling, and she held up a newly sprouted bean. Azuret blankly wondered, What the hell? Everyone. His eyes stared blankly at her. She said, Everyone who exists in this world is a seedling. Even if the ground is barren, there are seedlings that break through to rise. Witnessing that seedling will transmit power to other seedlings, and then all the seedlings will sprout. And then one day, that tiny seed will grow up, stretching out to greet the sunlight. As time goes by, it will grow into a tree, providing shade. Just like when a time comes to maturity, life will be greener. Kim Jankiel did not believe his grandmother. He angrily said, Do not say those moralizing things anymore. He indignantly shared with her, Then why did my kind friend die from working? Why did Mom abandon me? Am I a rotten seed? Do not say nonsense anymore. Hearing that, she was surprised by her grandson's heartbreaking words. Jankiel burst into tears. I will only care about myself. Like my mother did, I will succeed, eat well and live well alone. Some time later, he regretted it, frantically running to his grandmother's bedside. They trembled and muttered, We will watch you fight and join in if we can. Even though his grandmother was in critical condition, she still tried to call her grandson Jankiel's name to tell him. She stammered, We are all. They are seedlings. He worried, unable to hold back his tears, and tightly grasped her hand. He was heartbroken, gritting his teeth, returning to reality. Thanks to his grandmother's encouragement, he woke up strongly. activating his energy. A notification appeared. Kim Jang-kyul, you have endured the pain of death and been reborn. Your will and spirit have surpassed the limit, opening a new system. The Manhwa system has been activated. He wondered. Manhwa? This was not in the game. Explanatory information was displayed. This is a reward for successfully resurrecting 3 times. The Manhwa starts at level 3. The Manhwa enhances all your stats by a fixed factor. The enhancement ratio of a level 3 Manhwa is 1.3 times. Jang-kyul thought. All stats have increased by 30%. Then can I escape from this place? The optional skill of the Manhwa system has absorbed all nutrition, concentrating all stats into a single attribute, and limiting the time of day. He studied these attributes carefully. AT has endurance, will, strength, dexterity, and magic, all at 30%. Activate Manhwa seed. After activation, the seed has an increased set of attribute stats. All skills are at 39%. Dread surged violently in Azura. Those evil bastards. He decided to gather all nutrition into the strength stat. The stats changed. Strength has the highest stat at 94%. The remaining stats such as endurance, will, dexterity, and magic are below 30%. Jang-kyul gambled, going all in, increasing the strength stat to 155%. He struggled, trying to escape from this pile of collapsed rubble. The tree monster followed Kratos' every move, rising from the ground. AT tore its roots from the ground quickly and powerfully, leaving a hole. Unexpectedly, that hole helped Kratos escape from the layer of soil. The monster looked at Kratos with a sharp, sinister face. Planus flew into a rage. Approaching Kratos, he said to Kratos, "You still survived from down there." Sergi also honestly admitted, "We are demons." "Of course, we are evil." Kratos did not hesitate, frankly replying to AT, "Are your eyes for decoration? You can't see." Bastard. Kratos' teammates arrived, worried about him. Lord Kratos. The Gyupi Rup of Knights came to Kratos to celebrate. They proudly cheered. "This is Lord Kratos. Demon King Kratos is still alive. Our Lord has returned. The harvest is plentiful because of the Lord." T-Bone flew via crying. Ada rubbed its face on Kratos, sobbing. Hardoak felt relieved. However, Sergi lay listlessly, saying in her head, "Right now Planus is too powerful." Baal thought, "Our Lord cannot win. Planus actually like this is better." Kratos. "Right here. Right now." The tree monster Planus continued, "I will kill you, and all your subordinates." Zipherids announced, according to the long-standing tradition of demons, both sides will fight to the death without giving up. Kratos was startled and shouted, "Look how fast he is acting." Azurad also hurriedly said, "Wait." Demon King Kratos and T-Bone frowned. Resolutely refusing, he confidently requested, "You cannot defeat any of us." He thought that no matter how big he became, his movements would ultimately be the same as in the game. As long as I see that his attack range is wider than in the game, I can avoid everything, and the peasant soldiers that I trained madly are not ordinary either. The captain ordered the entire army. "Everyone retreat behind me." Into position. Ready. The peasant soldiers trained by Kratos in a professional environment had undergone many challenges. This time their challenge was sharp blades. Kratos directed the entire army, jump to the left, and everyone passed this challenge. Ada constantly changed its attack direction. Curling up. With this situation, I need to be sensitive, react quickly, and have to jump to the right. The difficulty increased. Kratos modeled crouching down low. What is done is done. He tried to reassure himself, "Do not worry. I will win this fight." He has weakened. Kratos urged his army. They focused with the educational programs. He shouted, "Continue rolling to the left. Roll more," and counted the rhythm 1, 2 in the thym. The next exercise was to maintain a defensive stance. When you see the tail of the swirl entering your position, you need to jump up. Planus shouted in vain, "Damn me. What the hell is this? Why can't I hit them?" Taking advantage of the opportunity, Kratos was ready to enter a hand-to-hand combat position with AT. At that time, he thought in his head, Planus recovers slowly. So, use the suck technique. He modeled this movement for the entire them of peasant soldiers, and everyone was working together to destroy the tree demon Planus. He pointed provocatively at AA. You idiot. You are useless. The demon Planus gradually lost strength. Ada screamed. Moments later, Ada gradually changed state. Kratos fell into a panic. What should I do? What should I do in this situation? Kratos was delighted that everything had gone according to his plan. Smiling smugly, here it is. I applied the strategy from the game to his frenzy state just now. At this time I will attack him with a Ryu-world style attack. He ordered T-Bone to come forward and carry out the mission. AT unleashed an ice skill, and the sky was filled with ice. The icy breath poured down on Planus, identifying AT as the target to be destroyed. T-Bone's ice skill took effect, paralyzing Planus. Kratos thought, no matter how strong I become, attacking a monster of this size is no use. The scene switched to Planus. AT resentfully shouted, "You little demon." He pondered, but after all, he is just a tree. If I freeze his body with cold air, then his volume will expand and his tissues will shatter. He smirked. And then, he imagined the time when T-Bone would take control of this fight. Ada used its icy breath to paralyze the tree demon. I just tested my strength because the Demon King has to be extremely strong, but I am not strong enough to be invincible. I am strong, but not to the point where I can brag. At that time, the upper parts of the body would freeze, and gradually the tissues would tear and break apart. Planus's eyes were filled with worry. Kratos opened his mouth and laughed gleefully. Then he continued, "This demonic tree will become heavy, unable to stand upright anymore and falling down." Planus's body was increasingly cracking, the cells gradually disappearing. Aedes shouted, "What is AT?" Seeing his enemy so dilapidated, Kratos was pleased to have achieved his purpose, and his friend T-Bone continued to carry out the mission. A moment later, his friend was exhausted, his face pale. Panting, he encouraged him. "Well done, Tai-Bong." He transferred him to Zephyrids to hold, so he could continue the mission. Unable to wait, Kratos turned around and said, "The final blow is..." He jumped up, confidently taking mine. He rushed towards Planus, face to face with AT, and his eyes burned brightly with a spirit of determination. I must take him down. In the meantime, he realized another weakness of the tree. Azuret roared and rushed up. "Here I come." Wooden eye sockets. He had paid very close attention to this detail, seeing the wooden eye sockets widening further. Waiting for the opportunity, Kratos quickly used all his strength to attack the weak point, which was the wooden eye socket on Planus's body. The wooden eye socket shattered. The socket gradually widened, breaking into pieces of fragmented wood. Planus was stunned, almost petrified. Kratos took the lead, quickly escaping from that area, waiting for the moment when its body would self-destruct and collapse. Planus's body was increasingly breaking into pieces, chunks of flesh and bone separating in the flickering green light. AT howled in pain. Zephyrids was relieved in his heart. Demon King, he has won. In contrast to him was the image of the terrified flute, hiding behind him. The notification rang. "Oh, the time for concentrating energy has ended." Kratos was exhausted after this battle. He lost his balance, spinning several times in the air. Planus's body was about to decompose completely. All parts were separated. Kratos tried to remember the plot in the game. I have seen that movement in the game before. Ada could be a stab or a slash. There is no way I can dodge something like that. But Ada looked at Kratos one last time with resentful eyes. Then Ada gradually faded away. Zephyrids was confused. He said to himself, "Its face has disappeared. Is Ada dead?" Its face disappeared, along with its rotten body. Everything was gradually decomposing. Kratos lay wearily on the ground. He said inaudibly, "Ada's strange. In the game, the entire body will disappear. Why is Ada still here?" He fell into a daze, suddenly realizing something. A part of Planus's body planted in the ground could grow, looking very much like a seedling that would sprout. Each layer of roots grew quickly, swirling into a living body. And this time Planus was reborn, its eyes looking proudly, glancing at Kratos. Kratos lay painfully on the ground. He tried his best to stand up, but AT was difficult. "Damn A, what is this? I no longer have the strength to move." Planus still stood proudly, evilly. Contrary to what he thought, he could dodge the attack easily, making anyone who looked at Eta terrified. Planus said, grinding his teeth, I am the one who absorbed a huge source of energy. Due to being close to death, I gathered my strength and created a new body. I am a seed that fell into a poisonous swamp. I have become a cursed seedling. And now that I have obtained the power of the Demon King, my mission is to poison this entire world. And Planus began to carry out his plan. He took a run up and shouted loudly, Die. Kratos, we are the seed. Baal also rushed forward, determined to destroy Planus, punched straight into Planus's face. But Eta seemed to still be able to withstand AT. AIT gritted its teeth, then used all its strength to hurl Baal away. Even he himself could not believe IT. How could I dodge AT? This time AT was Sergi's turn. She launched dozens of swords to hit Planus. But AT seemed that these moves had no effect. Planus retaliated extremely painfully. Zifarids was determined not to give up. He also rushed in like his friends. Planus went crazy cursing. You bastards. Then used its huge arm to hurl Zifarids strongly to the ground. Azurat did not give up. He read the slogan, We are the seed, making Planus very confused, and its body began to show strange signs. Azurat continued to read, Harvest is bountiful. Pray. Then quickly, swiftly, seizing the opportunity, Azurat swung his sword and beheaded Planus. Planus now had its head separated from its neck. Kratos, seeing this, breathed a sigh of relief, because his front foot is facing forward. That means he is definitely doing a stab. Planus's huge body slowly softened and began to dissolve into dust. Those wriggling roots disappeared into nothingness. They gradually disappeared. There were also green dust particles flying in the air. The residents of the land admired this scene and felt relieved in their hearts. Kratos lay gasping for breath below, but still struggled to say, That bastard. I like him a lot. Hardock was also exhausted after this battle. But after hearing Planus's words about the acts of treason above, I testify and record the victory of the Demon King's Legion. That is the exact same movement in the game. Hardock was silent for a moment, then jumped up happily, cheering, Great, Kratos. Everyone was delighted with this victory, and chanted in unison, Awesome, Kratos. Everyone worshipped Kratos very much. But suddenly at this moment, Kratos became serious and then growled, Stop right now. I said stop. Hearing this, everyone froze. Kratos' red eyes were very uncomfortable. Underneath the rubble after the battle with Planus, green seeds were lurking, silently sprouting. Kratos carefully observed this phenomenon. He also realized that there was something wrong here. He noticed that the dry leaf was no longer alive and this soil was barren, with no life. Azurat suddenly lost his footing. He had to try to dig his hands into the ground to stop. Kratos collapsed. Blaming himself, the entire fee is a pile of ruins. I am starting from scratch again. These guys have to go hungry again. After all this chaos, you want me to farm again? Kratos gritted his teeth, regretting, No way. I can't make them work hard again. He remembered his teammates. Lord Hardock, his friend Baal, Azurat, and Sergi. For him, they had worked hard. He collapsed, bowing his face to this barren fiva. Green seeds scattered around here. Ada quietly moved to the dry leaf, infiltrating the leaf cells as if to add life. Even though that leaf was torn, but Ada seemed to be gradually coming back to life. Hardock and Sergi kept talking about the fight. Did you see Kratos' expression when he dodged that attack? He is preparing to counterattack and tear his arm off. Why has not he done AT yet? Let us wait and watch a little longer. Greener. In the prism, there was constant whispering. We just heard news from the demon who guards the slaves that the Demon King's position has changed a few days ago. So what? No matter who the Demon King is, we are just bait. A boy sat slumped in a corner. Suddenly, a guard came, scaring the Gipiri. The monster held the key and opened the door. As soon as the door was opened, the slaves panicked. The monster looked puzzled. Zifarids, who was imprisoned as a child, did not care about what was happening. The monster breathed a sigh. Ada looked at his indifferent face. Azurat suddenly swung a slash. Kratos cleverly dodged to another place and successfully dodged the attack, then grabbed him. The monster lifted him high. Zifarids looked gaunt. At prepared to swing the blade to kill him. When the blade was about to slash, Kratos arrived and stopped Itai in time. Immediately, the monster was finished off. Its head was thrown far away by the Demon King. After finishing, the Demon King called, "Kid." Kratos looked scary. "Why do not you kneel down and beg for your life?" Kratos began to feel confused. "What is going on?" Zifarids casually replied, "Because I am not afraid of anything. On the contrary, I feel truly peaceful like this." He explained, "No matter how much we struggle, food like us cannot survive. The only thing I can do is shorten the time of screaming in terror while waiting for death." "I think so." Kratos smiled slyly. "You are different from the others. Follow me. I want you to become the scribe of the demon race." The Demon King turned and left, leaving a message. "It's a waste if you are swallowed. After all, we need demons as food for a while longer." Kratos declared, "But one day, Demon King Kratos, we'll end that tragedy." Zifarids' eyes looked up yearningly. "The tragedy where we have to eat our own kind." Zifarids ended his recollection. He looked at Kratos, who was collapsing. He was still motionless. He pursed his lips. "All of his movements are exactly the same as the things I know." Then turned and left. He went to where he picked up the hoe. Hartok, Ball, and Sergi observed his actions. Zifarids calmly dug up the soil. Hartok watched him attentively. He turned and ordered, "Farmers, what are you doing? Quickly level the ground. Fill in the furrows." After hearing, they were ready to work. He shouted, "Do it now." Immediately everyone rushed forward. Kratos was stunned by the scene before his eyes. "The first time I met Azuret, I had to back down. No way. Can he really be defeated?" He listened to the melodious songs. They were encouraging each other. The lyrics of the song kept ringing in his ears, causing him to suddenly awaken. Kratos immediately ordered, "Them 1. Find any land where potatoes are still alive. Teams 2 and 3. Pick up the hoes and line up immediately." He assigned tasks. Sergi, cut the remaining potato sprouts. Zifarids, assist and clean the blades. Hartok, command them 1. Azuret, quickly bring the lightning rod I told you to. He shouted encouragement. Pray for a bountiful harvest. Everyone excitedly picked up the tools. Ball was straining himself, pulling the people sitting on the handle to plow the soil. Everyone worked together to stick the hoe head into the ground. He is fast, launches attacks without warning, and has a wide range of attacks. But Kratos mused, "We have forgotten. Farming is like that. Natural disasters, epidemics, fluctuating market prices, climate change. We have to face a series of enemies. Fail, collapse, and then dig up the soil again. Survival is a never-ending battle." The seedling was still intact. Flute happily looked at the seedling. She ran to the seedling. Raster cried helplessly, "Please spare me." The girl happily thought, "Just one seed is lucky enough." But no one paid attention to Raster. Flute used all her strength to pull At up and thought to herself, "Why won't At come up?" Azuret came and held the girl's hand. He instructed, "Hold the tree tight." Lower demon. Both decisively used their strength. They looked blankly. A long string of potatoes was pulled up from the ground. After dying once, a potato flew to where the guy was being used as a lightning rod. Ada flew straight into his face. Azuret said in surprise, "What the hell?" Flute happily looked at the potatoes. She called, "Demon King. Demon King." He stared blankly. Flute hugged a potato and ran Uve to show off. "Look, the potato is so big." He hurriedly asked, "Is At really a potato? Where did you find At?" The girl honestly replied, "I pulled up a small potato tree Uve there. And At had a whole string." Holding the giant potato in his hand, he realized that this scene appeared after defeating Planus in the game. But B times and 10 times. After he died, these small trees grew from his corpse in the game. So that means the nutrients from him have penetrated the soil. And now the trees here have grown hundreds, even thousands of times. He shouted loudly, "Farmers, stop everything and dig deeper." Everyone exclaimed, "Too big, really too big." They happily shouted. The fee is not dead. Potatoes are growing everywhere. A whole bunch of giant potatoes. You've eat here. You've eat here too. How many potatoes do we have? Kratos and Zifarids observed. Everyone happily held the potatoes in their hands after so much difficulty. Zifarids spoke and asked, Demon King, is the harvest bountiful? He happily thought. Thank goodness, and replied with satisfaction. Yes. This is. Then he thought, we are truly very happy. Kratos burst into tears and said, a plentiful, bountiful harvest. Feeling relieved in his heart, everyone can be full now. I finally won against him after the 128th try. In the next 19 playthroughs, I could completely turn him into a fool by running and dodging without attacking. At a primitive house, Kratos was sitting and sorting out the problem, summarizing the current situation in the wasteland. First, the 1-star area, the Demon King's castle. The first owner, Sardal, rebelled and was defeated. When the frozen heart stopped working, all his minions disappeared as well. Now it's completely empty. No one is left. Next is the 2-star area. After the second owner, Planus, died, his subordinates fell into a state of confusion and bewilderment. Next is the 3-star area. The third owner, Raster, was used as a lightning rod. Should we punish the subordinates for treason? Finally, the 4-star area belongs to the snake person Tartu. He pondered. The remnants of Area 2, and those in Area 4 will be easier to mobilize. But we can't summon everyone at will. Before there are more workers, there will also be more mouths to feed. Slowly wait until the next harvest. Azuret rushed towards Kratos like a madman. Zifarids came to report. Demon King, we have started preparing a large-scale stew according to your order. Kratos replied. Well done. Remember to manage the food tickets correctly. Black Dragon appeared and said, Demon King, I have transmitted the waiting order to each area. He asked, are they doing well? I no longer trust them. A2 reported back, the 4-star area is disobeying the order. Kratos irritably said, damn A, why do not they listen to orders anymore? The dragon wondered, why? They did not say anything specific. He questioned, what? You did not even ask why. A2 confusedly replied, who? He angrily shouted at its face, the average intelligence of the Demon King is indeed. I want to know why the Lord of Area 4 is disobeying me. The dragon was frightened and shouted, Area 4 only has a few servants left. AT's completely empty. He gritted his teeth and said, have you asked the servants? AT hesitated and replied, no. He seemed to realize the problem. So that means you do not know why that place is empty. AT timidly said, I do not know. Kratos' thoughts were messed up. AT's really annoying. AT's easier to understand talking to a useless clerk. While Zifarids recorded. He said, he acts kind now, but he is still the Demon King. His face is extremely disgusting. Even after tens of thousands of years, no one has an uglier face than Lord Kratos. Hearing this, he defended, damn A, what if there really is someone uglier? That thing. Zifarids relieved him. I will try to talk to them. What about the servants? Where did the owner of Area 4 go? He also stood still and waited for the result. Simple. But, the dragon tearfully said, he invaded human territory, saying he would collect human corpses to use as fertilizer. He was shocked. Then he shouted in his heart. What? According to the storyline in the game, the ancient war god will awaken at that time. The demons begin to invade, and the war god will take action to destroy them. Kratos thought tensely. So, as long as I do not invade, the war god will not attack. The war god, that old man, has not appeared yet. So that means I was right. But if the Lord of Area 4 attacks humans? The image of Kimchi appeared in his head. A2 was very scary. Kratos' face turned pale. That person will appear. Seeing him in such a hurry. Zifarids asked, Sir, where are you going? He replied, to stop that bastard from Area 4. Zifarids confusedly said, what if you need support? Sir, Kratos bluntly replied, going alone is the fastest. There is no way his attacks can reach me. A confident smile appeared on Kratos' face. He thought to himself, after defeating Planus, the magic seed has reached level 4. He ran as fast as he could and shouted loudly, Concentrate the nutrients for the magic seed. Agility. Pour AT all into AT. Immediately, he sped off like a shot and thought. Use game glitches. Shortcuts. Take advantage of everything, as fast as possible. To the demon's wasteland. Not far from there was the Tower of Life, the Tome of the Holy Knight, the unclaimed land where Old Pickle met the Elbi Hagab Reef, and the village of the exiled, where they paused. If you went down a little more, was the border between demons and humans. Soldiers stood on the wall observing and saw something. They recognized. AT Special Envoy Azrahan has returned. Where are all the soldiers? Only that ugly servant is here, and at Agi Repieve strangers. The gate guard asked. The road must have been hard. Lord Azrahan. What about the soldiers who were with you? The one who spoke was the commander of Fort Magrat. Wolkos. That laughter made the 3 demon generals shudder. Elbihai explained. On the way, we encountered a monster trap, even before we got close to the demon's territory. Wolkos emphasized. His Majesty's order is to explore the demon's territory. AT's a special task that is often assigned, but there is always sacrifice. All were excellent warriors. Wolkos continued. Now please come inside and rest. Elbiha replied. Thank you. Commander Wolkos. The 3 entered. Wolkos blocked his sword in front of Kimchi, preventing him from entering. He said, but not you. Seeing this, Elbi and Durio were surprised. Kimchi glared warningly. His eyes made Wolkos wary. Elbi hurriedly diffused the situation. I met this person in the unclaimed land. He saved me when I was injured. Wolkos reminded, have you forgotten? Only those who have left this gate are allowed to return. Azrak kept swinging continuous slashes, while Kratos happily ran around him. Durio advised. Oh dear. There must be some misunderstanding. He rummaged for something in his clothes, then offered 3 gold coins, and whispered, I am not asking you to let me pass for fikery. Wolkos immediately slapped him straight in the face. He angrily cursed, you, that bumpy potato, ugly inside and your descendants will be exactly like you. Durio was stunned, suffering a great blow. Wolkos pointed his sword and ordered, you, take off your cloak immediately. If there is anything suspicious, execute him on the spot. Elbiha frantically thought, no, what is under the cloak is definitely 100% suspicious. Kimchi silently looked at Durio. Then he exuded killing intent. Hardok was so scared that he was sweating all Louvain. He is enjoying himself because he is too strong. He is laughing at Azrat for being too weak and happy about AT. Startling Wolkos. An activation sound rang out. The soldiers announced, AT's coming, AT's coming. A good group of monsters were approaching. They were demons, led by the snake person Tartu. Wolkos left and shouted loudly ordering, form a battle formation. Kimchi wondered, demons. He turned his eyes to look at them. The human in him was urging, kill AT. Kimchi activated a ready-to-fight Met. Azuret became more and more frustrated. You bastard. At this time, Kratos was still accelerating. He prayed, please, do not attack, then stopped and shouted loudly, all the demons will die. The snake people pushed the carts forward. They rammed hard into the city gate. On the wall, soldiers vigorously shot arrows like rain. They were determined to resist, while the monsters used the tactic of throwing stones onto the wall. Many soldiers were hit and fell. The battle truly fell into chaos. On the contrary, Kratos felt extremely excited. That is a relief. Of course, that does not mean I can win against him. But I have realized something important. This world has rules just like the game. The cart carrying the wooden stakes was about to break through the city gate. Everyone sitting in the city was very scared. Kimchi sat alone slumped thinking, my instinct is urging me to jump into battle. Perhaps I ties the memories from the 19th reincarnation. The memories of constantly killing on the order of the hand. Once again trying to make me fight. He recalled, if it was not for the Dung Master Elbiha pulling me back, I would have fought as a matter of course, even without knowing what my true will was. Kimchi merged into the crowd thinking, but all the people here are trembling in fear. In this situation, perhaps I should fight. The city gate at this time was about to collapse. Everyone's expression was panicked and they shouted, The city gate is about to collapse. The city gate was knocked down. A lot of monsters poured in. He suddenly realized, this is the notification box that I usually see in stories. Kim Jankyo, you have realized the by-Dech rules of this world. A snake person shouted loudly. Kill them all. Kill them and use them as fertilizer. This time, Wolkos had no way to retreat. He urgently issued a directive. Break the bridge behind us. But the soldiers hesitated. He urged, we are going to die here anyway. Do not let a single demon escape back to their homeland. The soldiers shouted loudly. The main gate has been broken. Destroy the bridge. The bridge was then destroyed. Elbia spoke. I just heard a loud explosion that collapsed the bridge. Durio panicked and said, are we going to die here? I have not even gotten married yet. After hearing, Elbia fell silent, saying nothing, then put on a sycophantic face and encouraged, do not be frustrated, Durio. Even if you survive, you won't get married anyway. Durio felt offended and cursed inwardly. This guy, in the next life, I will be reborn as a noble and make him work to death for me. Everyone's expression was very frightened. Only Kimchi was calm. A giant snake person had broken through the barrier. You have also been able to dodge enemy attacks with high concentration. As a reward, a part of the game system used by your character will be unlocked. When they saw it, everyone shouted in fear in unison. The monster raised its sharp claws. It caught a little girl. The girl cried, oh, Mom. The mother helplessly watched her daughter being caught by the monster. Both Elbia and Durio were horrified and could do nothing. Kimchi still indifferently glanced UV. Suddenly, the monster's claw was chopped off, causing the girl to fall freely. Durio stared blankly in panic. Fortunately, Elbia caught the girl in time. Targeting function unlocked. Kratos turned to look at Azuret. The cloak fluttered in the wind. Kimchi stood high observing the massacre scene. Tartu advanced towards him. He jumped down from above, causing the monster to be stunned. He stood proudly in an indescribable outfit. Tartu's face went blank, and confusedly thought, what is AT? Too strange. Kimchi suggested, I do not want to fight. Get out of the way. Tartu said dissatisfied. You are giving orders dressed like that. If you do not get out of the way, what do you plan to do? Someone like you. This is the targeting used when the special skill appears. That means... He was about to say something. His eyes became determined and affirmed. Your lineage. All of you will be killed. AT rushed to attack. He indifferently thought. Finally. Then relaxed. Is this the only choice left for me? He gripped his weapon tightly. Okay. If that is fate, then I will accept AT. His eyes became terrifying. I will be the one who kills the demon race. Suddenly, Kratos rushed in and kicked Tartu away. Kimchi looked up. AT was kicked far away. Kratos once again used his claws to scratch his hand. Kratos was panting because he had managed to stop AT in time. He looked towards Kimchi. Seeing him staring at him, he was stunned to recognize. AT's old Kimchi pickled. Why are you here? Tartu got up in surprise and said, Demon race. AT was kicked in the face, then repeatedly kicked in the body. He angrily cursed IT in front of Kimchi. Kratos warily looked at Kimchi. Seeing no reaction, he tried harder to trample on Tartu to vent his anger. Kratos shouted loudly, AT's okay not to fight. Why are you so arbitrary? But his mind was only begging for his life. Blood splattered everywhere. Bloodburst also began to take effect. Please do not kill our demon race. Kimchi spoke, I know you. Making Kratos, who was panting, stop hitting. He hesitated and turned back. Kimchi frowned and asked, You are Demon King Kratos, right? Hearing him call his name, he suddenly paused. Kratos frantically thought, like this, I am probably going to die. The soldiers and snake people stopped fighting and paid attention to Kratos. Voices of discussion rose. Just now, they said Demon King. The Demon King has come in person. Ada looks like he is saying something. Ada's too far. I can't hear anything. He said tremblingly. Kratos. What is AT? Form of computer operating system. A wave of oppressive lightning radiated out and incinerated Azuret. Kimchi seriously replied, I am not asking because I do not know, but to make a final correction. Kratos was terrified thinking, he has recognized AT. He is sure in that, if I keep standing here blankly, I am 100% going to be attacked first. Now, the best action I can take is, this is all I have got. He rushed quickly to him, then placed his hand on the ground. Kimchi still stood still. Kratos stuck his horn into the ground. The monsters and soldiers were stunned at his action of inverting his body to the sky. Kimchi had been observing all this time. The demon generals also gaped in astonishment, also had to be confused by his actions. The monsters wondered. The enemy is completely confused. Is this a new type of threat from the Demon King? He asked. What are you doing? Kratos then explained. At's called the Great Bow. A is a posture expressing absolute apology. Demon King Kratos has absolutely no intention of invading humans. That lizard acted on his own, and we came here to stop him. Kimchi replied. You really think we will believe the words of a demon? Kratos kowtowed and begged, please believe us. Until this horn breaks, I apologize 10 times, 100 times if necessary. The lizards again interpreted, powerful posture, tearing the ground in two. Just as expected from the Demon King, he was kowtowing continuously, thinking, I probably look pathetic and terrible right now, but if I do not do this, all the demons will die. As a leader, you must know how to take responsibility. He recalled a memory when he was in reality, witnessing an employee kneeling before a man. Cheers Rango. That is right, that is Kratos. Amazing. He laughed scarily saying, this guy really melt just because we told him to. Do you think IT will end here? I am also going to leave a bad comment. The employee endured patiently. I apologize. Sir, I promise this will not happen again. Please forgive us this time. He saw the scene and could not help but shed tears. He thought, I will happily accept this humiliation as long as I can save my people. He was still kneeling before Kimchi. Kratos was truly sincere. Witnessing the scene above, Kimchi thought, Aid is useless, Demon King Kratos. I exist to kill you. I will kill you right now and then kill all your people too. He decisively prepared to act. Seeing Kratos still stubbornly begging, caused him to hesitate. I should have killed this guy. He thought, but this guy, he is really bowing 10 times at once. After that attack, Azuret's skin was only slightly burnt. Then resting, then bowing 10 more times. There is a familiar feeling. 10 times. 10 times. His pupils suddenly widened. He saw the silhouette of someone playing a game. Ata exuded from Kratos. Kimchi recognized the hand posture, always at 10 fingers, even while cleaning up the demon land. Ata was always 10 people at once at that time. Before jumping Viki the trap, he would always count to 10 times before going through. Even when he rolled around without any purpose at all when there were no enemies. Ata was also 10 times. Kratos was still trying to apologize and beg for his life. He vaguely thought, that voice does not sound like the Demon King at all, but Ata sounds extremely familiar. Kimchi suddenly froze. You are. He glanced up at Kratos. Why did he appear in front of him with the body of the Demon King? Kimchi interrupted. Stop. Causing Kratos to be surprised, he shooed away. Disappear immediately. Because I want to kill you at this very moment. He became happy again, then carried Tardu on his shoulder and said, Thank you. I will never forget your kindness for the rest of my life. He was running and thinking, run, run. Hurry up. Hurry up, he shouted loudly. Everyone. Go back. The monsters were foolish and did not understand what was happening. One by one, each followed after Kratos. Kimchi also turned and left. He became annoyed. He is still alive after being hit by Bloodburst. The thing that can kill people in an instant in the game. Damn A. He has a fast recovery system. He can recover quickly. I did not expect that. But Tardy still did not give up his intention. Ata looked at Kimchi's back. Ata shouted loudly, How dare you, you lowly thing. Tartu escaped from Kratos and rushed quickly to Kimchi. Ata raised its claws towards him. Kratos feared and tried to stop a time. But Ata was too late. Kimchi had killed him in an instant. Tartu's body was separated into many pieces. Kratos was stunned in place. Even so, Ata still shouted. Kratos continued to create lightning and attack him. Ata still tried to curse, making him helpless. Kratos fearfully slowly looked at Kimchi. Seeing him glaring at him, his mind became panicked. He understood Kratos' sincerity and said, "It was not your intention just now. I understand that it was his own intention." He still stood listening. Kimchi turned, then left and did not forget to warn, "If I ever see those horns in the human world again, I will kill you." Those words caused him to freeze. Saying nothing, Sergei trembled before the ruthless attack. He is attacking him to the point where he won't die but still feels pain. Seeing Azuret lying on the ground, Kratos worriedly thought, "He probably won't die. What should I do now? System, notice you have torn all of Azuret's clothes and now he is naked." He did not understand what this message was. "Can you not say AT like I am a pervert?" Armor vault unlocked. Kratos stood searching for a while. "Are there any good armor in there?" "What the hell? There is only the set I am wearing. There is nothing usable now. I have to deal with him first. I am not that strong, so I can't kill him. His recovery ability is very good, so he might get up soon." Kratos was startled and realized, "Wait a minute. Because he has not died, I can still target him, so I can continue to attack with blood burst. I can give him a series of moves that he will never forget. That is right. I am the smartest. Those guys must be really scared of me. Right? Great. Let us try ATO." He called loudly. "Hey, Sergei." Tie Azuret up tightly. Sergei was a little suspicious. He wants me to tie up a naked man tightly. Is he trying to humiliate both me and Azuret? Step 1. Prepare the lightning rod. Azuret still did not make any movements. A moment later, he opened his eyes wide and said, "Azuret the Immortal has recovered. You must have weakened. You think you can kill me with blood burst? This time, I will definitely behead you." Kratos continued to step 2. Use blood burst. With this method, I can oxidize the nitrogen in the air to form nitrite. He gave Hardok a task. "I want you to cover this whole place with fog. AT has to be so thick that there is water flowing." Hardok secretly speculated, does he intend to make this whole place wet to make his lightning more painful? What a creative way to torture. I have learned something new today. He started creating fog. Step 3. Spread the fog. Step 4. Attack continuously. After many blood bursts, Kratos had to suppress the pain in his heart. Zipharid still stood in one place, observing. Sergei and Bal widened their eyes in horror. Azuret had to endure thousands of lightning strikes. Kratos became more and more excited. "Great. This way, I can make the land here better with nitrogen. What if I have a bumper crop? I am so excited." He tried his best to attack Azuret. Streams of lightning were continuously created from the sky. Kratos picked up a handful of soil to test. "Good. I will continue to transmit nitrogen this way. Next is to consolidate the soil. Liquid soil with this single structure does not allow oxygen to enter and does not drain well. For cultivation, soil with a loose granular structure is ideal. That is why what I have to create now is..." Azuret's health deteriorated more and more. The thought of manure suddenly occurred to Kratos. He immediately demanded, "Everyone, all of you, give me your manure." His words froze them stiff. After turning him into a lightning rod and roasting him, he wants to smear manure on him. That is too cruel. Extremely cruel. Cut to a magnificent mountain range. Kimchi was walking alone in the forest. Suddenly, he heard a cry for help coming from the bushes. The weak voice kept echoing, "Please save us." Kimchi curiously approached to see. A man cried and recounted, "We were attacked by a group of goblins. Please help us. If you do, we will reward you." Kimchi still stood looking at them with a blank expression. The two men turned pale with fear. Kimchi gently said, "Do not be afraid. I am not suspicious." Even so, they could not help but panic. "He looks suspicious as hell. He looks ridiculously suspicious." Kimchi approached and asked, "Are you injured in the leg?" Then he lifted the man up gently, then turned to say to the other man, "Please lead the way." The injured man kept praising, "You are really strong. I am Envoy Rivage Ezrahan, and the person behind us is my servant, Diol Frontera. May I know your name?" Kimchi slowly replied, "From now on, that is also what I want to find." Cut to Kratos' castle. The demon general sat dejectedly. Hardok racked his brains. "How can we just bring manure like that? Do we just poop on the spot or what?" Sergei trembled and said, "This is crazy. AT's disgusting. AT's terrible. Bal also honestly shared. Bal has not eaten in a long time. I can't poop. Sergi also jumped up and demanded. Do not talk about my poop. You idiot. Hardock immediately came up with an idea. Even if we can poop, I do not want to provide him with my poop. Let us beat up the low-level demons and make them poop. At the demon's village, a mournful begging sound rang out. Please do not do that. I beg you. If everyone is looking like that, I can't poop. Please at least wait outside. The others also said that, but they could not. Hardock impatiently asked, why is 80 taking so long? So you can't provide us with any means. The pitiful demon confided. Lord Hardock, I have not eaten in a long time, so I can't. He angrily squeezed the demon's neck. Thank you. I understand. Hardock used his sharp claws to prepare to deal with this guy. Then he screamed in fear. Seeing this, Bal ran to stop Hardock's action. He turned his head and asked, what is wrong? Bal reasoned with Hardock. Stabbing his stomach will kill him, which means there will be no manure. They need to poop more so we can get more. Hardock dropped the demon to the ground. That is really smart. I did not expect AT to come from you. If I feed them your flesh, maybe they will be able to digest AT. Bal stared at Hardock. The little demon sat crying and trembling. Hardock and Bal frantically rushed at each other. Fortunately, Kratos appeared in time to stop the conflict. What are you doing? Humans are not the only creatures that know how to excrete. Manure without nutrients is also useless. You have to find manure with nutrients. Zifarids asked in surprise. Manure. Kratos confirmed. Yes, the material to provide nutrients to the soil. Normally, manure is created by wood powder and grass, eggshells, and chicken waste. As for wood powder and grass, we can use the houses we saw earlier. The problem is eggshells and chicken waste. While calculating, Kratos suddenly had an idea. He immediately said to Zifarids, bring me the map of our kingdom. Kratos carefully observed every place on the map. As expected, A2 was exactly the same as the map in the game. That means I can find them once I get to this place, where the demon seagulls reside. In the game, they appear a lot. That means the seagulls can digest a lot of nutrients from the humans. And when they poop and lay eggs there, this will be a very great place. Zifarids wondered. Your Majesty, are you planning to collect seagull waste? Kratos complimented him. You are pretty sharp. Zifarids provided some information. That place is called the Cliff of No Return. AT has no foothold, and if you fall, you will get stuck in the raging waves. Kratos seriously replied. I know that because players are not allowed to go there. But I can climb up there. Everyone went together to the beach where the seagulls were residing. Hardock put on a very puzzled expression. What is he thinking? Many people have tried to challenge themselves to catch those seagulls from ancient times, but they all fell into that sea of death. Kratos carefully instructed them. I will climb up and throw the bag containing the waste and eggs down. Make sure you catch IT. If this plan succeeds, everyone will have a good meal. Bal still sat silently like a statue. He recalled the moment when the demons were tormented. Then he cried in despair from hunger. Kratos advanced towards the promontory near the sea waves. What playthrough was AT that I tried to climb up here in the game before? I tried every way to climb this cliff before. I have tried AT hundreds of times and died countless times in the process. Kratos took a stone and probed forward. Everyone was watching for the results. Kratos tried to cling to the cliff, but I finally succeeded in the game. By exploiting the bug. Suddenly, a piece of the cliff suddenly broke off. Zifarids and Bal also watched nervously. Kratos decided to open the inventory, removing all items. In an instant, Kratos was like a naked person without a shred of clothing to cover his body. Everyone widened their eyes and looked at him. Then they only saw his muscular arms and a purely white bottom. Everyone shuddered in terror. Kratos tried to find a way to turn around as quickly as possible. Sergi screamed in madness. No! Kratos quickly put the items back on. Finally, he managed to turn around successfully. Sergi secretly glanced at Kratos. He continued to use this creative tactic, turning around and taking off all his clothes. Just repeating AT like that, and he can climb up. And so, Kratos took off all his clothes again and turned towards the cliff. Then he put his clothes back on and turned back. He was very persistent in doing AT. In just a moment, Kratos reached the middle of the cliff. A moment later, He also reached the peak of glory. Kratos stood on the promontory with a majestic style. He's done. A world where the game system is shared, an equipment vault, and a place on the map that no one can go to. Combining all these together, I experimented and it's proven to be feasible. Baal had a bold idea. His Majesty said that His Majesty will give us food. Baal will go up and help him. Zifrids blankly said, Lord Baal, that place is... Without thinking much, he eagerly rushed forward, ignoring Zifrids' obstruction. No. You can't. Hearing the scream, Kratos turned around to see. Baal tried to jump UV to the opposite cliff. Baal will follow His Majesty. Kratos screamed in panic. What are you doing? Because he could not cling to the cliff, Baal gradually fell freely in the air. Fortunately, Kratos was quick-witted enough to grab his hand in time. He used all his strength to try to pull Baal up. This guy is too heavy. My hand is about to break. The evil nature in him suddenly surged. Wait, why should I save this guy? He is one of the 4 demon generals. A threat to me. Would not it be better if he left? I have no reason to help him. Kratos looked at Baal with resentful eyes. Suddenly, a Sephirai from the past rushed into his mind. Jankiel, please help me this one last time. The professor won't let me submit my assignment. He intends to keep me as his Iran boy forever. Please, can you help me? Then at least he will look at my assignment and evaluate AT. The professor loves you. You are the best. He will listen to you. Please. Jankiel lowered his head and thought, he is a junior who always goes with me. Because I am his first subordinate, maybe the professor will listen to me. He glanced at him and questioned, this is your problem. Jankiel also had his own concerns, but I am afraid I will lose favor, and then I will put myself in negative situations. Maybe. Just maybe. I could have saved that guy. Kratos tried to hold Baal's hand tightly. He chanted the mantra in his heart. If I try a little harder. Kratos gritted his teeth and used all the strength he had. If I set limits for myself, his face in my memory will be a smiling face. Kratos shouted with an earth-shattering voice. He used his Herculean hands, putting all his strength into AT, then pulled Baal up as much as possible. After that, he resolutely threw him straight up onto the promontory right above his head. Finally, Baal landed safely. Kratos breathed heavily after successfully rescuing a critical case. Baal asked, Your Majesty saved Baal despite the possibility of being injured. You did not have to do that. Why? Kratos sat silently, immersed in thought. A moment later, he roared back, because this is not as painful as abandoning my subordinates, and in the end, I regret those things if I do not do a. Baal stood still in astonishment. Those sincere words made him very grateful. Kratos also blamed himself for what happened in the past. This is also what I should have done with him. I'm sorry. He imagined that painful scene. Suddenly, the system panel appeared and interrupted Kratos' train of thought. Even if you have not fully adapted to the body of the Demon King Kratos, you still used all your strength to save people. As a result, you have gained the gratitude of Baal, one of the 4 demon generals. In the hundreds of achievements, a system has been established that gives your army a feeling of abundant happiness, which will give you a large amount of points. Kratos was a little curious. A large amount. Happiness point accumulation system activated. Jankiel wondered. Happiness points. I know this. Can ATA be used to get a discount on ice cream? Do they sell ice cream in this world? System replied. What kind of game sells ice cream? He was surprised, scared of his mind. I can talk to this thing. For each soldier in the Demon Legion who feels happy from having a full stomach, Jankiel will receive 1 happiness point. He can use these points to buy stats. He can currently only use 20% of the Demon Lord Cred's power. Stamina. Mental strength. Physical strength. Agility. Magic, each will be increased by 10%. Try to increase all 5 stats and possess 100 of Cred's power. Jankiel thought to himself. Well, let us see. Plus. To buy 10% stamina, he needs 50 happiness points. That is too expensive. He can also use happiness points to buy skill enhancements. Existing skill. Blood Burst Level 1. Happiness points needed to level up, 250. Jankiel has not done anything yet. He told himself, but if I can successfully farm, then I can get a lot of happiness points. Right. Then I will become super strong and increase my chances of survival too. And he looked at Baal. To be thanked by someone. That feeling must be good. Baal shuddered at his grotesque smile. His face is like he will tear me apart immediately if I do not listen to what he says because I owe him a life. Kratos is really a malicious demon lord. He did not save me because of any noble ideals. Jankiel stood on high and shouted. You guys. I am going to pour manure into this eggshell and throw Ada down there. Catch Ada. They were shocked. What? Right at this moment. He dropped the eggshell. Zephyrids thought to himself. I can't take a tea anymore. Jankiel held the eggshell. Let us farm. Now. Give them anything and everything. The first step is to make organic fertilizer. Seagull manure. Eggshells, ash from trees, and some gravel. Then grind them up and mix them together. He called Sergi. Grind and mix all of that together. She froze. What? You want me to do that? He said. You have a lot of hands. Do it. Sergi flared up. The monarch of cold. Sergi. My hands were not born to do things like mixing manure. Jangxiel replied. Oh. Really? Then I will give you an easier task. UV there. You just need to stay still like that to get struck by lightning. Easy. Right. Sergi became even angrier. He sighed. Scared to death. These guys are all hot-headed and dazed. I have to be careful. But I am the Demon King. I will try to rise at all costs. The second step to make organic fertilizer is to add water. He called Harduk. I want you to fill the air with fog. He was dissatisfied. What? Demon King. The smell will be even worse if the air is more humid. Why would I do that? Jankiel said the second plan was the same as when he talked to Sergi. Can you handle this? With no other choice. Harduk did as he was told. After AT was done, Jankiel asked Baal, is AT humid enough? Baal said, after soaking in water, AT's soft, just like you said. The third step is to put AT somewhere dry and cover AT with a cloth made of seagull feathers. But even doing just a little bit takes too much time. To make enough fertilizer to cover this barren land, there is no other choice but to mobilize the entire demon race. There was something Jangchiel felt gnawing at him. But he told himself, I have to complete AT now. I will continue to move forward in the name of the Demon King. AT was night. The moon was high. In the small house, a demon father and daughter were inside. The little girl called, Father. He replied, What is AT? Flute. She said, Please. Eat me. The demon father scolded. Flute. I told you not to say that. Flute cried, I miss Mom. His face changed color. When he was hungry, he transformed into a spider demon. Flute cried in fear. He opened his mouth wide. Just then, Flute's mother stood in front of her. Flute looked at her mother with worry. Her mother looked at her with sorrow. Then her father ruthlessly ate her mother. Now he regretted. If you are no longer here. What reason? Do I have to live? Suddenly there was a noise outside. He was surprised. Demon King. Jangxiel said. You still have the strength to shout. Take him away. He shouted. Wait, what about Flute? If we leave her like this, the high-level demons will eat her. Flute screamed. Father. He also called her, No. Flute. Jankiel asked, How many demons do we still need? Zephyrid said, 20 demons so far. 30 more are needed. He turned his head, looking at the little girl who was crying loudly. He thought of the little girl crawling on the ground. But that person was still holding a weapon, decisively slashing down. Flute was still screaming. Jankiel had already turned his head away at this time. He said, Stop all cannibalism. AT is now illegal. Zephyrids, I want you to gather all the remaining demons. Everyone, start making fertilizer immediately. I am the Demon King. This much ruthlessness should be okay. After all, the goal still needs to be achieved. Leader's role is to accept sacrifices. In the blink of an eye, AT was afternoon. The demons were forced to work. They were dissatisfied. Why do we have to waste our strength on this for several days? Farming. Ada sounds ridiculous. Another demon said. Shut up. Darok, you will lose your head if the Demon King hears you. Darok said, we are going to die anyway. Assuming this land becomes fertile, what will we grow? We do not have any seeds. Unexpectedly, Jankiel appeared behind them. You are wondering about what we are going to grow. He trembled. Demon King, he said. Follow me. On that day, the purple flower that he had accidentally found. That was what could be planted. The flower was now in full bloom. Darok was surprised. That is AT. He replied, yeah, we will plant from the roots of this plant. Ball and some other planting teams have dug them up from other places too. He said, sorry, but Demon King, the roots of this plant are not edible. When consumed, AIT will release a toxin that causes pain throughout the body and then death. Jankiel retorted, but there is nothing else on this land that can be chewed. Right, as for experimenting to see if it is edible, let us do AT now. Darok asked, sorry. Experiment. He replied, right, let us do AT now. Your daughter, feed this to her. He was instantly horrified. He shouted, no. Why? Why do that to my innocent child? Please do not eat AT. Darok rushed straight home. Flute, do not eat that. He was surprised when he looked inside. The little girl said, Father, I already ate AT anyway. AT does not hurt at all. Father, I feel full. He trembled. Flute, are you okay? The little girl replied, yes, Lord Zephyrins and Lord Ball fed me this yesterday. I do not feel anything at all. Jankiel spoke up, so, do you believe me now? A long time ago, people in various lands turned toxic things into edible food in some way. They successfully processed IT and made AT a solution to their famine. AT is also known as potato. Flute smiled. Demon King, I can't believe you are so kind to a low-level demon like me. I am very grateful to you. At this time, the system reported, a part of your army is happy to be eating. You have received happiness points for the first time. The added AP is 1. Jankiel looked intently. Flute had tears in her eyes. He was silent for a long time. He again remembered the little girl crawling on the floor. Flute smiled. Jankiel thought to himself, just because I am the Demon King does not mean I have to be arrogant all the time. He said, you idiot. Just eat and try to grow up. Zephyrins and Ball thought to themselves, he is fattening the kid up to eat her. He really is an evil Demon King. Deepest in the vast territory of the Demon King Chavandiantor. The territory is divided into 5 regions and this region is located in the deepest region. AT is bone-chillingly cold at night and terribly hot in the morning. This climate is like an Indian plateau. In the past, people in the Andes did not have enough food to eat, so they had to eat poisonous potatoes. So did they all die. What kind of creatures are humans? They know how to turn things that people say are inedible into edible. Darok called. Demon King, we have spread the potatoes. Jankiel replied, good, Ball. Seek any growth. He immediately did as he was told. Bal stomped heavily on the ground. His feet crushed the potatoes. They froze them for 5 nights, then used Bal's meter stomp on them after melting them during the day, which caused the toxins in the potatoes to leak and evaporate. They froze, melted, crushed, and then evaporated them. After repeating this process, they dried and stored them before cooking them. Then they became edible potatoes. Jankiel ordered Zephyrins, gather the gardeners who created the fertilizer. It was time to eat the newly created food. They would enjoy eating this dish, would not they? After concentrating, he instructed, there is not too much, so everyone take 2. Zephyrins asked, there are still many potatoes. Why do not we make more? He said, I do not think there are many left. 8 is not enough to serve an entire demon army. So we will have to plant the remaining potatoes and create more. The demons hesitated to look at the potatoes. These are poisonous roots. Are they really edible? My relatives died after eating this. Darok said, I told you, the Demon King has changed IT and now AT is edible. Flew to AT and is still normal. The person scolded. You idiot. Look at the Demon King's face. is that the face of someone who will give you food. He is waiting for us to eat and wants us to writhe on the ground before dying. Dairok shouted, "You are crazy." The two demons next to him were silent. He made an unhappy face, then shed tears and said, "Long live the Demon King." After doing the farming, witnessing the first person eating, everyone ate this dish very quickly, and they all looked at Jankyul with gratitude. The Demon King really gave us edible food. One of them shouted, "That is right." Then they all said in unison, "Yes." Kratos. Jankyul scolded inwardly, "I do not like these words. I will have to correct them later." Zifrid secretly assessed. The expression on his face shows that he did not expect that he would be able to make edible food on this barren land. Maybe he can really end the tragedy caused by hunger. A part of the demon army is feeling happy from eating well. The number of points added is 50. Jankyul received the information. That is a decent amount of points. I can make myself a little stronger. But what will help me the most? I still have no idea, so I will collect more points first. We will divide the fertilizer making them. Just then Zifrid spoke up. Farming them. Listen up. Tell this to the whole village after you are done. Say that food can now be grown on this land. We promise that the demons who dig up the potatoes will have tickets to exchange for this dish to eat. Jankyul looked at him. He is pretty smart. Although he looks a little annoying, he has also helped me the most. The loyal demons dug up potatoes for him. One side created the edible dish. Others would make fertilizer. Sergi exclaimed, "The smell of manure." Jankyul directed them. "That is right. Spread ATO here. No, 10 steps from here, 1 step back." Then they did as he told them. Lightning struck that demon, while Jankyul would work hard to produce nitrogen. Now that there was enough fertilizer, it was time to continue to the next step. They needed to spread the fertilizer all zuv up this place, but it was too wide. That was too much for the farmers to do when they were only given a small meal. The person hanging on the wooden tree scolded, "Kratos, you bastard. Kill me." He did not care. Only pondered, can a demon do good work when he is not being fed? Even if he does not rest, he can work for a long time. There was no other way but to wait for that thing. He asked Zifrids, "Did you really request more troops?" He replied, "Yes, I did. We ordered the regions to stop attacking and seizing new lands and provide as many troops as possible for cultivation. While we have sent messengers to the stellar regions requesting more people, but we have not received any replies yet." Jankyul thought, did the messengers die of hunger before arriving here? It was too difficult to distribute fertilizer with the current army. Demon Land, Stellar Region 1, Cliff of Death. The demon reported, based on the reports of the demon scout, Demon King Kratos has really started farming. It seems like they have created food. The person said, "Kratos, he is doing all those things because he is afraid of me. Since I have become stronger, many demons have died. He has stopped the war and is reducing the number of starvation deaths to keep me in check. He is the master of the star, the father of death. Sotheril, you have taken care of all the messengers sent to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th stellar regions." "Right," the demon replied. "That is right. The other stellar masters know nothing about the war being stopped and about cultivation." Sotheril said, "The demons will have to starve to death. Only then will they become food in my army. So, then I will kill Kratos and become the Demon King. My ally, Fikamir." He replied, "Yes." "Lord Saruthal," he said, "I want you to destroy everything that Kratos has accomplished related to farming." Fikamir immediately accepted the order. Back to the place where that person was hanging on the wooden tree. Fikamir appeared. "Kratos is really evil. He turned Azuret into a corpse to scare others. Do not worry, Azuret. Lord Saruthal likes your arrogance very much. He will take you in after killing Kratos." Then he summoned the ghosts. "Destroy this land, and make it unusable again." They followed Fikamir's instructions. "Lord Fikamir, this is the manure that the Demon King mentioned." Fikamir laughed. "Throw them everywhere. They might collect a tea again to use. So spread them far and wide, and mix them into the soil so that not a single piece of manure can be seen. Bury A to Zeep underground." Azuret looked at Fikimir suspiciously. He remembered Ziphirid's asking, "What should we do?" at that time. Jiangxiel said, "The manure must be crushed and mixed into the soil. Doing that is very difficult, so Ada will be impossible for the farmers." Fikimir was now still complacent. "You are finished, Kratos." Azuret was speechless. "What are you planning to achieve here by doing this?" After wrething around on Kratos' land for a long time, the ghosts got tired. One of them sat down and complained, "It'll never be done," but was reminded to work hard, not to leave any piece of land unplowed. The Demon King will turn AT into farmland. Number 2718 also admitted to being more diligent when asked by number 1341, but still did not know, because he only, looking at all the work we have done. 2718 was very proud and felt like he would done useful work. Number 1341 listened to him and pondered, but then called the other guy an idiot. After that, he went back to plowing the land, calling himself an idiot today too, because they were not paying attention to the time, but kept reassuring each other that there was not much left. The ghosts were very panicked when it was morning. Being exposed to the sunlight, they realized they would lost all sense of time, but if they kept going like this, they would die. However, they felt that dying like this was not so bad. After all, they felt like they were doing useful work. The ghosts were completely transcended by the sun. Seeing them leave, Fikimir also shed tears, praised them for doing a great job, and told them to rest in peace. And now, wanted to see what Kratos' reaction would be. In the shack, someone reported, plowing the field took a long time, but they themselves had spent that much time. The Demon King looked at the pile of potatoes and said, "All of these are in a state of hibernation." When asked, he also explained, "They won't germinate. It is useless even if you plant them. Like a potato sleeping peacefully in the soil." And then someone pulled its hair. The potato died of shock. Their biological rhythm had stopped. He thought, their winter vacation will end quickly if we keep them at about 4 degrees Celsius for 2 to 3 weeks, then suddenly move them to a warmer and darker place. Wanted to have Sergi transmit ice energy into them, but she was angry again, and Hardock was also planning something. Kratos was afraid, "I will not be able to avoid being attacked by both of them. It's better to think of another way." That was to be able to increase the temperature of the storehouse to about 20-30 degrees, so he had the farmer soldiers do squats. But they quickly got tired, so that method also failed. It was very difficult to think of the best solution. He turned abruptly and told Zephirids to go to the farm. Still thinking, "I will do what I can do, at least need to transmit nitrogen into the soil." When he arrived, he saw the 5A that had been completely plowed up. He could not believe it. The land has been plowed up. A stench was spreading everywhere, and Azuret was unconscious on the cross. Kratos felt confused when the Phi is ready for cultivation. What miracle is this? Fikimir stood on one side watching with satisfaction, thinking that the Demon King was very shocked, and had successfully destroyed the 5. Al suddenly appeared behind him. After that, he grabbed him by the neck for hiding and brought him before the Demon King. He recognized him as one of the leaders of the Cliff of Death, wondering why he came on his own when he heard the call for reinforcements. When asked what he was doing here, Fikimir stammered. But before he could answer, he was punched unexpectedly. The assistant was also dissatisfied that he was punched by the Demon King before he could answer. Kratos realized that he was hiding something, so punching him for a bit was the best way to deal with this matter. Even though his face was distorted from being punched, this guy was sure that he would not easily say anything. Then was punched again in surprise. He punched Fikimir repeatedly, and then complained that he was too tired, but summoned the system, used AP to buy different stats, and the stats all increased. The AP possessed was 51. He had used AP to upgrade his stamina, because he was punched too painfully. This guy spoke up and said that he would confess, then said while in pain, "I was ordered to destroy the 5, to make everyone starve to death." In the castle Kratos guessed, in the end, Saruthal is the one, blocking the requests for aid. He also understood, he only becomes stronger when there are more hungry demons. Zephyrid said, "This is an act of rebellion. But aid could also be an opportunity, if he could defeat the Stellar Master Saruthal. The demons who were complaining about the expedition would take that as a warning to them. He thought that that was not the problem, but they would hinder the cultivation if he let them be, and he needed a surefire way to deal with them. Zifferids asked about the problem of how to defeat that guy. Kratos admitted that he had the ability to turn his body into a ghost. Remembering that in the game, Saruthal moved everywhere on the Cliff of Death. The map was originally complicated, so the entire level was different from playing hide and seek. And if the insects were too difficult to kill because they just kept hiding, then he had to drag them out of their nest. Flute stood in the area looking intently at something. Azeroth was shocked that he was being stared at so intently. After that, he threatened. "What are you looking at?" she was asked, and wanted to say something nervously. Then bowed and thanked him. When she heard that thanks to his sacrifice, they now had food. Azeroth heard this and went crazy and screamed, cursed himself mockingly, and said he would kill that damn brat. Flute saw that he was acting so crazy and ran away in fear. This guy hated and thought Kratos just wait. As soon as he got out of here, he would find him to kill him. Song had to be amazed when he said, "Now all together." He sang. Gongs and drums felt very happy. Also made a ribbon. "Congratulations." The second lightning rod in the office. Then danced and sang with his subordinates. Both master and servant felt very happy. When they hung Fikimir on the cross, Azeroth was surprised to see the second lightning rod, thinking he would be fuckery in joy, and thought he would not have to be roasted chicken day and night anymore, but had to be surprised when that guy was also brought and placed next to him. After that, the Demon King suddenly used his power towards the two pillars. He realized Kratos' intention, that now there were two lightning rods, and then both Azeroth and Fikimir were struck by his lightning power. On Saruthal's side, he was observing the situation with a magic orb. Song cried and shouted, "My confidant, Fikimir." Kratos was still using more power to hit that guy. Fikimir was tied up, and could only bear the pain and suffer. Saruthal watching was still crying, thinking his nephew must be in so much pain. He hit harder and harder. This guy cried in pain, because he was taking a lot of damage. Seeing this scene, Saruthal could not stand and shouted, "Stop." Kratos realized something. Looking in another direction, realized that was a scout bird appearing in the game. Was watching him very closely. He was angry, promising to make him regret destroying his farming. The sky was still shining very brightly. On Flute's side, she was hoeing the ground very diligently. Azeroth looked at her very thoughtfully. Her hands were still holding a shovel to scoop the soil, then had to turn to answer when she heard him ask what she was doing. Flute said that the Demon King and the 4 great generals, along with all the adults, were trying to farm, so she wanted to help. He despised her for being a stupid little demon, reminding her that the area had been tilled by the guy next to the platform, so she needed to do something more useful. Hearing the girl thank him and say she would plow the fields and install lightning rods, Fikimir was suddenly. He felt happy when he felt rewarded, but Azeroth chimed in, "You are getting old," then said his thoughts. Plowing a little soil or cultivating on barren land is not enough. Potatoes or anything else can't germinate, because people say if you warm the potato storage, A2 will germinate faster. Anyway, everyone will starve to death. Before he could finish speaking, he saw Flute running away, saying thank you and still carrying the potato germination. Watching the girl happily carrying the bag, he sighed, not knowing what she was planning to do. At the castle, it was now late afternoon. Zifferids said he was a little suspicious. Even if Saruthal knew it was a trap, would he come to save Fikimir? Then Kratos replied, "Of course not." Called that he would first send his subordinates, until he was forced to jump out of the safe zone to fight. They would capture and kill all the people of that damned invader, and would destroy each and every one of the regions that opposed him. At this time the army commanded by Baal had gathered. The listening bird was also probing them. The Saruthal who was watching through the orb at the base cursed him, when he kept resisting his children. There was nothing he could do. Seeing Fikimir's matter was a pity, but his real purpose was only one. That was to destroy Kratos' harvest, and also ordered the cursed spirits to destroy the potatoes in the storage. The demon lizards were in a state of hunger, then rushed straight forward. Hearing the order, trampled everything and transformed into different forms to infiltrate it. They had entered the storage. Kratos inside also knew about the incident in advance. The spirits stopped and looked at him in surprise. He stood above and said, "I knew the cursed spirits would come." With a gloomy expression, he welcomed them to his own tomb. The lizards were still confused and did not understand anything. Kratos thought, "The first time I met the omnivores in the game, They were really annoying. Zaruthal's second army. Analyze first. The problem is that they always gather in groups. And when there is more physical contact with the player, when they cling to the player and quickly age them. A very troublesome monster, with the ability to copy the power of anyone Eta touches. And now, he still had a way to destroy them. Then scratched his hand to use power without knowing who to use Atai on first, but in Credo's head he had a way. Attacking with objects with lightning properties would defeat them. The leader had realized AT was a trap, so he told his comrades to run. But he frantically rushed up to deny AT, saying the Rio trap was only just beginning. The ghosts who were planning to run away looked at the door and were surprised to realize AT was blood, unable to believe that the Demon King's blood had been spread in advance. And now, his techniques would show even more power. Kratos had used his lightning strike to hit the ground directly. The electricity slowly spread to the blood that had been spread earlier. They gathered at the door as the center, in the witnessing of the spirits. He used the move, blood attack, to explode throughout the warehouse to prevent them from escaping. Each and every lizard was in pain. When they were hit by the lightning, the Demon King laughed madly. When he could now attack with physical blows, ordered the deployment of the farmer army. They immediately rushed in with weapons, shouting, "A good harvest!" Everyone was very excited to fight. When the lizards revealed their true form, Kratos felt, even though those friends looked weak and unimpressive, when they coordinated, they were an unstoppable force. The farmer army was still full of enthusiasm, advancing to slaughter the monsters. He satisfiedly enjoyed this feeling, like a cold and outstanding king leading the fighting army, thinking he really belonged to this world. Then turned to report to the soldiers. There were still some people who had been electrocuted, running away, and jumped up to personally take them down. Still fighting, he detected something. From the pile of sweet potatoes, Flute had emerged, was feeling shocked, not knowing from when. Then a cursed spirit was rushing to attack her. A soldier who was fighting was also panicked and screamed her name. Flute. Kratos thought AT was definitely those guys. Now there was only one thing to do, to reduce the number of escapees. Most importantly, what did he have to do with that? To stop the attack of the enemy rushing to save her. A super-speed potato had been thrown at the ghost about to harm Flute. He saw that he was really stupid. Because what was the point of throwing that thing? The girl would die. The potato hit the lizard's head, which made AT stop. After that, fell down while not understanding anything. In the air, the potato seemed to be protected by some kind of power. Even Kratos could not believe AT. When he saw this scene, AT had its soul stolen by the ghost, then germinated immediately. The potato's soul fell into the pile of potatoes. Flute saw this and turned to look. Some of the lizard ghosts had escaped from the storage. He went to look down and realized AT was a potato sprout. The potato had actually sprouted in that unique way. He was shocked to realize, thanks to the heating process, the potato's biological clock had started running. After that, he went to pick up Flute. Smiled happily, calling her a good job. The kid saw the Demon King's expression like that, and cried in fear. He announced to the farmer army, Zaruthal's attack plan had been cancelled. Then bent down and picked up a potato. Bursting with killing intent said, AT's time to attack them. Under the scorching sun in the area that had been plowed up, there was someone who did not know where this was. Azuret did not know who he was, what he was living for, and felt the sun was beautiful, the origin of life, also grateful for being able to face Ada like this. Was feeling very sluggish because he was hungry. Realized he still yearned to live. Then he had to turn to look down, when he heard his name being called. Lord Azuret. Flute brought a bowl of food thanking him for the potato sprouts. So everything went smoothly, also collected a lot more manure. This guy's eyes widened in surprise when he heard the news. Kratos had recruited a bunch of farmer soldiers, and had set out to sprout potatoes. The girl was still talking but was only paying attention to the bowl of food. After that, went crazy when he saw the food. The girl saw this and realized he was hungry, so she offered to give him some to eat. Flute used all her strength to throw the walnut towards Azuret. But Ada did not hit his mouth, but AT hit this guy's eye directly. Seeing him frantically wanting to kill her, the girl apologized and called O again. But of the 3 later nuts, only one hit his mouth, the rest hit his eyes. Even though he was thrown very painfully, but Ada felt very delicious to be able to eat. The system reported, Your Demon King Legion is feeling absolute happiness. So the accumulated points and have all increased. Kratos looked at the rewards received, including 300 members, and that girl, not knowing who the other person was happy when everyone got points. The more he beat, the better. He had to save a to use when attacking Saruthal. At this time, he was shouting with his farmer soldier army, "We want to be bountiful," praying for everyone. The Demon King and the generals had stood in front of the bridge to go inside to meet Saruthal. Two ghosts had seen them, telling each other to cut off the bridge. The ropes connecting the bridge had been cut off by them with axes. Then gloated and provoked. Without the bridge, what would they do? But after that, Kratos jumped straight Juvek in the ghost's surprise. But he had not touched the ground on the other side, and was suspended and falling down. The two crazy ghosts laughed when they saw him jump Juvek and fall into the abyss. And then fell silent, pausing. Looking down, Kratos was stuck to the person below the abyss. The ghosts looked at this scene confused, not understanding anything. Then he below also had movements, preparing to gather strength, shooting straight up to the ground. Seeing that the Demon King had reached the place they were standing, the two ghosts ran away in fear. He turned back and instructed, "Act according to the plan." Assistant Zephyrids heard the order and nodded in agreement. He went while thinking about his prediction. The souls must be terrified of the dead potatoes. But what would happen if he charged in with his bare hands? Saruthal inside received the news that he was alone, and did not bring the cursed potatoes. Ordered the souls to rush up. A passing attack would win. The souls and the Demon King were charging directly towards each other. Suddenly he stopped to use his ultimate move. Quantum movement of a lower level under the ground. Kratos was examining the underground movement. The land that was normal suddenly wanted to peel off. The souls looked and said AT was disgusting, not knowing from when he could walk through walls. Also some realized he had gone up to the upper floor, then split up to capture him in order to win, but then could not believe AT. The demon had disappeared in the blink of an eye. He counted 19 times. This was a map with no corners that had not been searched, going through every area that they appeared in the game, waiting for them to gather in one place and then take them all. This time, Kratos had stood up. Above was a flock of subservient spirits. Song stopped to observe, listening to the situation. They were thinking, he was exhausted. Even if he was a Demon King, he had reached his limit. Kratos said that now he was not a Demon King, but a veteran gamer. On the outside, Zephyrids shouted secretly, "Seedlings." The farmer army threw a lot of potatoes at the same time, wanting them to germinate quickly. When colliding with the subservient spirits, the piles of potatoes had actually germinated. And then, the Demon King ordered, "Farmer, attack." The assistant looked at this scene thinking initially was still skeptical, but this time again, the Demon King's words were completely accurate. Song recalled the moment of discussing tactics. The Demon King said to gather them in one place. The guy would lead the farmer soldiers according to the map, because this place was an abandoned sewer system. AT was just a dead end with nothing. But the Demon King said there was. Smiled wickedly, as if he had known the secret exit in advance. Back inside, Kratos was standing thinking, after crossing the abyss of scary souls. Before reaching the final map, he had found AT while searching. Remembered playing the game, seeing the elaborate stone door, and then had thought, why here was a different structure. Also used all his strength to destroy the gate. Watching AT slowly open was great. And the place IT led to was here. The path to the first battle with Satharil. Had once thought AT was impossible to go up there. Turned out that after completing the exploration, he could return to that place and get the transformation serum. The farmers were very happy that the number of potatoes had germinated. Now they could sow the seeds. Song also called Flute's name in joy, saying that now we can also live fully. Hearing these words, he thoughtfully remembered the past. The saying, "Jang Cheol, our family is probably hungry. Mom will definitely give you a full meal tonight. Just wait a little longer." But that evening, he had to stand blankly watching her being taken away for emergency treatment. That feeling of sadness suddenly rushed back. Then blurted the sentence, "Whoever wants to block my path to just wanting to eat well and live peacefully, then he would take care of him." Suddenly, someone asked, so the Demon King also turned around. Al said he wanted to support, reminding him that Saruthal was very strong. But the Demon King told him to go move the potatoes. He could handle this matter. In the base, Saruthal was performing magic calling. "O great frozen spirit heart, lead more wandering spirits with your omnipotent cold energy, wanting you to grant me more spiritual power and strength." Just as he finished speaking, this old guy was rushed to vacate by Kratos and kicked in the head and fell down. When he asked him how he knew this place, the Demon King called that he did not need to know those things. Along with a fierce expression reminded him, "It's time for me to eliminate the insects." The guy Saruthal was hit and sat down facing Kratos. Song spoke up and said he was stupid, because he would not be able to defeat him alone. But he still stood silently in anger observing this guy. Saruthal was planning to use some kind of magic, reminding him that he still had not witnessed his true power. But Kratos countered that he had seen probably 19 times. When playing the game before, he had chased him, the guy who ran around the cliff of death, and only encountered the minions. Finally, the knight destroyed the monsters there, then ran into this room, where the heart of the frozen spirit resided, a terrible object said to have been created by the dragon with all its life. Bound the dead and the living with a coldness that penetrated the soul. He had used his power to gather many minions. Before he could do that, he had arrived in time and the final battle began. When he remembered, that was when he could see his true power. Back in reality, this guy was still creating frozen magic. The Demon King just stood listening to Saruthal say he was very strong, and that was why this match. Before finishing the sentence, he was about to turn into something. When he had manifested as the frozen Demon King, he was also sure that he would become his own victory. Kratos knew that he would copy all of his stats. The character would be maximized based on his current stats. With a terrifying attack power, the opponent's evasion was impossible. Just a graze, he would be defeated in one blow. He was very calm, because the version he copied of the Demon King was still very weak, and complacent when he realized he was not that strong. When he finished copying, he increased his stats. While still thinking, the guy Saruthal had rushed towards him, but luckily he had used his HP to upgrade his stats. He had used 50p to upgrade his agility. After that, dodge very smoothly. In this guy's surprise, Kratos had also attacked immediately. He painfully intended to punch back. Then he used 50p to upgrade his strength stat. The fists of the two demon lords are clashing. The copycat started complaining about pain, wondering why he was not phased at all. Kratos lectured, "If you want to farm, you have to use your brain." Seeing him so smug, he gritted his teeth in resentment. He screamed madly, while he was still using a P to upgrade his magic and reason stats. The lightning strike was activated, hitting Saruthal directly. After taking a hit, his expression was very unpleasant. Being electrocuted, he cried in pain. His body state had returned to a melted form. But then he fell with a thud, witnessed by Kratos. Where he fell, now only a small puddle remained. Then he used P to upgrade all stats once. Looking at the Demon King system, he was surprised that the upgrade task was completed, and a reward and new skills were unlocked. A throne belonging to the farming king, equipped with many sturdy and durable farming tools. He felt that he really needed some new tools. Then, he was surprised that the Saruthal puddle called his name. As he was gathering his body, he asked, "Do you really think this is the end?" He glanced UVA calmly, knowing that this guy's second transformation stage was quite weak. After transforming, he boasted, "This is my true power, the ancient evil dragon." Kratos was a little surprised, thinking A2 was pretty impressive. This attack and stamina power. He really was a mid-tier boss. But then he cracked a sly smile. Suddenly, Baal led the army from behind, kicking down the gate. Kratos' aside were all glaring. He told him, "I brought a lot of subordinates." The ancient evil dragon looked at them for a moment, then became tense, wanting to negotiate with him. But Baal and the farmers rushed in, surrounding him to attack. Everyone cursed because they knew he had disturbed the land, wanting him dead. Saruthal could only beg for mercy helplessly. Kratos watched everyone attack, originally wanting to have a fair fight, but he was too arrogant, so killing him with his own hands was worthy. Looking at the chaotic scene, he did not know what he was doing, being beaten like that and still not surrendering, thinking if he attacked smarter he would collapse. The Demon King used a new skill to summon the Farming King's throne. The throne was slowly landing. Its bright halo was heading straight down to the battlefield. Then, a great source of power descended, causing the farmers to dodge. Kratos was quite surprised by this scene. When the throne fell, At cracked a piece of land. The subordinates happily cheered for the Demon King, for finishing off that guy violently, because they could not do AT. He was just pensive, having constantly heard praise from this Jeep or rep, thinking in his head, he did not intend to do that, but his mouth responded to the morale of his army. There was a change at Fikamir's lightning rod. Azure had heard IT and was also suspicious. The soul of this guy flew up, saying he was being reborn here. With him, all the fields had been plowed, and the potato sprouts were growing beautifully. Even the pests threatening the crops had been dealt with. Now, the farmers and credos knew it was time to plant potatoes. Suddenly, the ice block had a problem again. He and his assistant turned back to check the situation. In suspicion. Seeing the notification, the Death Cliffside has been defeated 20 times. He could not believe AT included 19 times he did in the game. Another notification. A hidden event has been activated as a reward. The power long trapped in the heart of the ice spirit is awakening. Ada was slowly cracking in half. Credos saw this scene, not knowing what was going on. A tiny ice dragon emerged from Aya. He was shocked to recognize a dragon. AT opened its eyes wide, staring intently at him, then uttered its first words, Tybin. Credos stepped towards AT. The little dragon said falteringly, "This creature is..." He was reaching out to hold the dragon. AT was very happy to be held by him. Thinking in its head, AT hatched from an egg, but AT was dark the whole time and AT was very scared. Now AT was lucky to have met someone. Demon King laughed maniacally, praising AT for being so cute. The dragon trembled happily calling, "Father." The farmers cheered again, wanting to eat the dragon. AT cried in fear, constantly hearing them say, "Let us eat AT." Credos turned back and scolded, "You idiots. Raising AT will give us more meat." The dragon cried even harder because AT knew, "Father wants to eat me." Suddenly, he saw something a little strange. The demons in the area were very happy that the farming them had returned. Even Flute came to call, "Father." The farmers reunited with their families, and the little girl was also tearfully holding her father. The dragon was brought back by him, feeling warm because the atmosphere here was so happy. Turning to say to the Demon King, "They are not scary people." But looking at his sinister expression, the dragon thought, "No, father is scarier." Twilight at the Demon King's castle. The dragon had entered inside, but was huddled in a corner, then turned to look at the situation. The Demon King was sitting on the throne, his body releasing smoke. AT still felt scared remembering that they were waiting for AT to grow up to eat Itai. Credos was racking his brains not knowing what to feed AT, because he heard dragons eat crafted gems. But there were none here, only piles of rusty metal. Zephyrids came to announce that there was a report. As expected, "We are having trouble building the planting rows," he said tiredly. "Of course. To cultivate, you have to mound the soil high between the furrows or edges of the planting rows, these high soil ridges. Of course, to drain the crops to prevent waterlogging. But there are too many rocks on this land, so the plants are hard to grow and they are also hard to dig." Seeing the farmers working hard, the dragon thought, "They are all slaves. Will I also be forced to work to exhaustion like them?" Credos saw that this was not a fiva, but a land full of rocks. At this rate, it would take a lifetime to clear all the rocks. Mobilizing people every day will deplete the food reserves very quickly. Even if other lords send reinforcements, AT will not solve this problem. He bitterly wished he could summon pets to work like in other stories. If only a dragon would appear and clear all these rocks for him. Then turned to look at Flute, doing something to the ground, so tired that sweat fell like rain. But he still stared intently at the little girl. Then thought that complaining was enough and he had to find a way to solve AT. Agriculture was job where unexpected problems constantly occur. Then he looked up in surprise. AT was a tornado. AT was really big, taking everything with AT in a very dusty way. Kratos still stood there watching AT get bigger and bigger, gritting his teeth, because he forgot about this. The blade wind often appears randomly and crosses this vast desert. If caught in AT, you will be torn to pieces and die instantly. He shouted for everyone to hide. Hide behind the rocks. Get into the shaded areas. Everyone called to run fast. The Demon King was annoyed, feeling that even though AT was far away, this wind pressure was so strong. The pressure he felt in the game before was nothing. Natural disasters are the biggest enemy of agriculture. Everyone was running away, including the Demon King. But Flute was running against them. He looked at the little girl in disbelief. The child went to call his name. Azuret was tied to the pillar. The child's father also rushed to call his child. He was annoyed again that At was this kid again. While people were tearfully going to save their child, he gave the dragon to the father. Kratos shouted to protect At. Do not anyone follow him so he could save the child himself. Baal shouted at the Demon King that At was very dangerous. Going in would mean death. He was rushing nervously, thinking he could not lose a laborer and a lightning rod. Agriculture was never a leisurely thing of picking pears and apples while resting. Seeing the little girl trying to save him, Azuret angrily chased her away. At this time, he rushed to save them, still thinking. Agriculture is surviving in a difficult life, and At is a battlefield that must be overcome. When someone told him to get out of the way, the child recognized the Demon King. After that, he kicked and broke the wooden pillar. Azuret also fell freely because of this, then fell face down on the ground in pain. Flute was horrified to witness this scene. Seeing the blood splatter, Kratos was shocked. The little girl painfully shed tears because she wanted to untie Azuret's ropes. He scolded the little girl for being stupid because the knot could tie the 4 heavenly kings, then chased her away. Flute was being grabbed up in surprise. The Demon King had picked up both the little girl and him on his body. The dragon on this side saw this scene. Feeling the living creature, and father was not very strong. Kratos, on the other hand, was trying his best, carrying both people, running very fast to the shelter. Even seeing that, the dragon realized father still saved them from the tornado. Trying not to get caught in the tornado, but his body was very painful and bleeding. After that, Kratos hugged Flute tightly, then fell down. Even Azuret, who was tied to the pillar, was thrown out. The dragon grew wings and flew away from the guard. Because seeing the selfless act of saving others, he praised his father for being a kind creature. At was flying straight very fast to the place where the Demon King had collapsed, then tried to suck everything into its mouth until its mouth swelled, then released a very powerful breath, launching straight towards the tornado. The dragon's power faced directly, stopping the tornado. Kratos felt the tornado was weakening. The cold had weakened the tornado. The dragon was still trying hard, blowing out its icy power, trying so hard that At was sweating. The Demon King closed his eyes, seeing that this was too much for a baby dragon. The tornado was still there, but the others rushed in at the same time to save the 3 people. Kratos, the little girl, Flute, and Azuret. At the Demon King's castle, Kratos was lying in bed. Hardock and Sergi walked in. Both of them glared sharply. Hardock said in a low voice, "Now that the Demon King has fallen, I will chop off his head." Sergi also agreed, and after defeating that idiot Baal and Azuret, one of us will become the Demon King. Hardock replied, "Until then, we are still allies." The two opened the door and entered Kratos' room. Hardock and Sergi slowly approached, planning to raise their weapons to prepare for the assassination. Suddenly they froze and could not attack. When they saw Kratos had woken up without them knowing, Hardock and Sergi panicked, thinking, "Damn he knew we were coming," and opened his eyes to wait. Both were determined, but this was their only chance. Suddenly, Baal and Azuret came in and asked, "What are you two doing?" Baal said, "The Demon King is sleeping. Do not wake him." He was shocked, thinking, "That is a sleeping face. Indeed, the Demon King." Baal reminded, "If you dare wake him, Baal will not let you off." Hardock replied, "I understand you, you big idiot. But Azuret, do you also want to side with the crazy guy who wants to farm?" Azuret said with a meaningful expression, "Not really. I just owe him once, so I am paying At back now. Next time I might be on your side." Hearing this, Hardock questioned, "Do not you think just planting potatoes has caused countless troubles? Do not you see that farming will fail and everyone will die?" Azuret calmly replied, "That is right." He remembered the little girl Flute persistently digging the ground, her small hands full of scratches. Azuret firmly said, "If we do not starve to death, we have to risk our lives. Anyway, we have to risk our lives. I want to work rather than having to fight with you." Seeing this, Hardock and Sergi were silent. Hardock said harshly, "You will regret At, you damn fools." After that, Hardock and Sergi quietly left. At this time, only the two of them were left. Baal said. The Demon King is awake. Kratos tiredly asked. Azuret. You? Azuret sighed and replied. Did you hear? I did not side with anyone. I am just paying back a debt. That is all. Kratos' expression changed and said loudly. What lightning rod goes around talking like that? Hearing this made Azuret stand frozen on the spot. And after that was a piercing scream from the castle. Reaching the land, Baal carried Azuret on his back, walking behind him. Kratos said with momentum, There is no time to waste. Everyone continue picking up stones. Baal immediately said, There are almost no stones left. Sir, the Zephyrids are plowing the land. Hearing this, his expression became shocked. He saw everyone working hard. At this time, Baal was busy tying Azuret to the pillar, and Kratos immediately asked, Hey Zephyrids, how did you get rid of all the stones? Zephyrids asked, The Demon King is awake. He pointed and said, Stones. UV there. Seeing T-Bone flying around made him wonder. In T-Bone's mouth was full of stones. AT struggled to swallow. T-Bone secretly resolved, I am too small, so I can't cut the blade wind. I will eat a lot without being picky so I can grow up fast. Kratos waved and called, T-Bone. A immediately snuggled into his arms. Kratos said excitedly, T-Bone, you are so cute. He secretly calculated. The blade wind does not appear often and AT takes time to grow up. Bone can observe from above and shoot cold air to stop AT before. Although AT is a bit troublesome. But there is no weather forecast here. The Fady seems ready. AT's time to deal with the potatoes. Zephyrids asked. The rewarded fertilizer supply is running out. Should we make more? Kratos immediately replied. No need. He frowned thinking, the enemy of farming is natural disasters, followed by financial pressure. Those are the walls we have to overcome. Reaching a room, Sergi was sitting in front of the mirror. She took off her hat. She looked very beautiful. Sergi immediately said unhappily, Ada smells so bad. I refused to work in the fields and stayed indoors for several days. But the stench still does not disappear. Suddenly someone called her. Sergi, I need to talk to you for a moment. She wondered thinking, the Demon King. You have never come to my room. She replied, What is the matter? I have nothing to say to you. The voice outside the door kept urging, I really need you. Quickly open the door. Sergi replied unhappily, Do not say things that can cause misunderstanding. Kratos insisted, Not seeing each other's faces will easily cause misunderstandings. No, I am coming in. She shouted in panic. I said I have nothing to say. Sergi was stunned when she saw him naked going through the door.